Hey there, everybody. Looks like this is working. Just going to double check this here. That looks like it's working as well. All right, welcome back. So, yeah, we're streaming some more Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Yeah, so we're on to what I'm assuming is probably the final showdown, likely, and I've skipped to where I think we roughly were. I think we were actually a little bit further past this, but I didn't want to go past the last line that we had encountered when we were playing this last Wednesday. So, yeah, we're here. We've got our theories. Let's just, I guess, hop into it a little bit. Okay, no, I was definitely past this. Can't believe you brought me here. You never hear the end of this from my father. Where are we? The courtroom of the gods, the place where truth and reality are determined, the court of Azathoth. Give you one last chance, Tyrion. You made a rash decision, but I can still send you back. I knew it. What? I didn't come here without a plan. I noticed something. Statistically playful Demir's been cracking since we brought Celeste into the stand. You're nervous, aren't you? There's a reason why you didn't want me to bring you here, and I'm going to find out what. Your persistence was enduring at first, but now it's just irritating. I suppose we'll have to do this the hard way then. Don't say I didn't warn you. Yeah, so I think I just gotten to this point when we were doing this last week. So, I kind of wonder, like, who's the judge for this? The only way to nullify my contract is to unequivocally prove that its conditions weren't fulfilled. Celeste McCoy's contract was written without flaw. So says the words of Asmodeus. So, whether or not a contract has a flaw in it is completely kind of up in the air. It depends sort of on, like, what you mean by that. Because, like, the contract is the contract. It is stipulating what it's stipulating. So, like, when you say that's a flawless contract, that could really kind of just mean anything. Like, you know. Asmodeus? Amadeus? By his word, demons are incapable of speaking lies. This is my domain, Heavensborn. If disputing a contract is truly impossible, there would be no need for this court to exist. Demons are powerful, but they aren't omniscients. Contract may be without flaw, but that doesn't mean you can't negotiate its terms. No, it doesn't matter if your contract is perfect. I'm not leaving here until you... okay, I'm going to rationalize. If disputing a blood contract were truly impossible, there would be no need for this court to exist. Demons are powerful, but they aren't omniscient. They can't possibly be aware of contradicting circumstances that may be created when they make a contract. You're hiding something that you desperately need to keep hidden. Oh, really now? You tried to confound the investigation by manipulating Celeste's memories, but the contradiction in your testimony proves one thing. She didn't see you and Beatrice enter the prayer room until 2 p.m. at the year list. Your so-called contradiction is based on testimony of Leif Freyja, yeah? How are you so sure that her testimony is reliable? It's supported by testimonies of Miriam and Lord Asclepius. They were still together at the time. Their testimony is sound. Oh, really? It looks like you've made a contradiction. What? Leif Freyja, Miriam Freyja, and Lazarus Asclepius encountered an illusion, and that illusion makes their testimonies unreliable. So says the word of Asmodeus. What? An illusion? What kind of illusion? Who knows? My statement still stands. You can't just expect us to accept your claims without any evidence. I can't speak lies, Tyrion. The immutable facts are all the evidence I need. In this court, the only thing that matters is what is true and what is false, and the word of Asmodeus says that Leif's testimony is unreliable. She could just say whatever she wanted without having to provide any context, but she only said that Leif was tricked. She didn't specify an exact time. Do I need evidence? I'm gonna not be able to find this very easily. Shit. Okay, what else proves Beatrice didn't disappear until 2 p.m.? Trying to remember where we find out where Maronath was. There is this. That happens at 2 o'clock. So that actually means something quite important. Where do we actually have the testimony about Maranath? Because we did get something about that. Did we lose that or something? Was it his testimony? Dean Maranath called Archduke Remus Vergile to meet with him at 150. He apparently had very important information that Vergile couldn't ignore. Okay, so he was talking to him at 150, so that doesn't definitively get anything that I need here. What we're trying to prove is that Beatrice had to be with the others at 2 o'clock. Or wait, was it at 2 o'clock they had to be there? Yeah, so was there anything that we definitively know she did prior to that? And they're sort of actually, she's sort of actually just clarified that it's Leif Fraga's testimony that is incorrect. I feel like it's probably something to do with this. But also there's testimony that there was the Kingsguard that were watching... Were they watching Maranath, though? It's been a while since I've gone through some of these details, so what they're looking for here specifically is going to be tricky. This actually kind of implies that she might not have been the one who did this unless she'd done that quite a bit earlier, which she probably did. It's kind of weird that she was unobserved. I could have sworn there was something stating that someone was being guarded prior to 2 o'clock, though. I'm gonna actually double check this. I think that it's probably this is probably our best bet. But I don't actually know where to find the specific information for the thing that I thought it was. This doesn't prove it, though. Okay, yeah, this is what I thought it was. It is this. I don't think this definitively proves it, though. Regardless of when it happened, Leif and her party went to search for Beatrice after you two went missing. Yeah? Do you confirm or deny that? I won't deny it. Perfect. Whoever set that trap, they said to trigger whenever Astor approached his father's body, and it didn't trigger until 2 p.m. Leif and her party were about to search for Beatrice when the Kingsguard informed them of what happened. Kingsguard did this immediately after the trap was sprung. I didn't know that they did that. Since Leif was about to begin her search when this happened, Beatrice couldn't have gone missing until that time. Yeah, I didn't remember that at all. You're predicating that on the testimony of the king. Not just him, Eris. Several members of the Kingsguard witnessed this. True, and that's why I'll respond with this. An activated force cage did not trap Astrode Weavengard during or after 1:50 p.m. What? So says the word of Asmodeus. But how? That testimony came from multiple people. Are you saying that trap was sprung earlier than that? Don't you remember, Tyrion? I can manipulate the memories of people who have a blood contract with me, but I'll give you a little clue. The Empress of Discord made contracts with multiple knights of the Kingsguard, so says the word of Asmodeus. What? I tampered with their memories. You can't trust their accounts of what happened. How many people do you make contracts with? Little Lady Steelman has been investigating my work for the last few months, but I've had my talents in Weavengard for far longer than that. I've been preparing for this for quite some time, but even the Kingsguard? No one is safe from temptation. Everyone has a price. Your girlfriend should know that better than anyone. Still, there has to be something. I still have more evidence. So really, what whose testimony will you be relying on this time? Astor did Weavengard. It's possible that I have a blood contract with everyone present during the massacre, so this is the words of Asmodeus. Are you kidding me? But you only said it's possible. You never said it actually happened. You're the one disputing my contract here, and the burden of proof is on you. That's completely ridiculous. How could I possibly verify a statement that... Yeah? You know he can't do that. Technically he can. So what the contract stipulates is that she has to bring me back to life every single time I do that. Nothing to say, Tyrion? Isn't this part of where you present some ground-breaking piece of evidence? As long as her statement stands, had to doubt every piece of testimony I gathered. So, going through the text log, I think that she actually does flat-out speak at something that isn't true, but I'll double-check it. It's not this, it's like all the way back. Where's the technicality here? Oh, it's not there anymore. Okay, so she's saying that it didn't happen before or after... Wait, the trap wasn't sprung until... wasn't sprung after 150. I don't... Aster, I know he doesn't have a blood contract with you. I suppose you're right. So you're going to use his testimony? He couldn't observe much from within that force cage. Do you understand now? You were never meant to win this game, but I suppose I should be thankful to you for entertaining me this long. This is the most fun I've ever had, and I truly mean that. Tyrion, come on, there had to be something I could use, but all the testimonies I gathered could potentially be more lies created for her. To Tyrion, you have to say something. My strength is fading, the divine light inside me is dimming. I can feel the weight of her presence dragging me to the ground. This has always been a contest of willpower, and it looks like you were found lacking. No. I recalled what happened during Beatrice's trial. I wasn't sure if it was a dream or something else, but I'd heard my mother's voice. Okay. Just tell me what to do. Heard nothing back. I knew this was a long shot, but I was still holding out hope. However, Eris was a being who wrapped herself in layers upon layers of lies. She had the power to make me doubt everything. The witness testimonies, even the physical evidence I possess, could be a fabrication. How could I possibly argue against someone like that? It's not fair. It's not fair, Mr. Mora. They're not even bothering to investigate the crime properly. Well, of course they're not. If they did, they'd be forced to admit that my client is innocent. How are you so calm right now? Is this what it's always like? How are you supposed to win like this? They just keep changing the narrative however they want. They can, and that's exactly how I'll beat them. What? Look, Cuthbert, almost every part of the system is against us, but there's one advantage we have over the prosecution. That's pure and objective logic. Logic? Tyrion, the prosecutor does all sorts of things to validate their case. They present evidence, they call witnesses, and they use those pieces to create conclusions. They create a box and throw a bunch of facts into it. They tell the court that everything within the box is the truth, and conversely that makes everything outside of it a lie. But how does that help us out? You can find contradictions in their case. That makes them throw more and more facts into the box to keep their case consistent. But even if one fact in the box is false, the entire thing falls apart. But surely they'll realize what they're doing. What if they play dumb and refuse to add anything to this box? Well, you can force them to. You can present your own truths and force prosecution to either accept or deny them. By doing that, you decide the terms of the battle. You control what goes inside the box. I don't know if I'll ever get the hang of it. Don't worry. You've already been a sharp. You've always been a sharp kid. I know they do great things, so don't give up. Eris's last statement hinged on the time that Beatrice disappeared. She could only change Celeste's memories to make her think everything happened earlier, which could only mean one thing. Beatrice Frege did not go missing before 2 p.m. What was that? I said, Beatrice Frege did not go missing before 2 p.m. So says the word of Horus. What? I felt myself filled with the radiant power of Horus. It was the same sensation I'd felt in the Heraldson Gallery last month. I could feel the divine light of the upper plane spreading through me. Tyrion, you have wings. They're metaphorical, probably. We're in some sort of weird celestial mental realm place. I spun around slowly, only to catch glimpses of the golden wings that had spread from my back. I didn't even notice it. My feet weren't even touching. Is there ground here? I don't... Okay, whatever. You. Where did you learn how to do that? I didn't. It just happened. I just chuckled. What could be so goddamn funny? You know, I've been wondering something, and it's been bothering me for a while now. If demons like Maraneth exist, then surely angels did as well. I couldn't be the only person left to stand in your way. There had to be someone out there who could stop you, an immortal angel, a holy warrior, or something. I'm a defense attorney, for crying out loud. I'm not qualified to fight a demon. That's right, you wretch. I've lived a million of your pathetic lifetimes. I'm a god. Yeah, you are, and I don't see any angel or paladin rushing in to help us, so I guess I'll have to do. And this is my skill set. Man, king, or god, you're not leaving here with Celeste's soul. Ha 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 ha. What? What happened? Celeste? I'm here. Chuckles. Since you're so graciously bared your soul to me, perhaps I should respond in kind. I'm Lord of Shadows, sovereign of the Sixth Circle. I'm the question that gnaws at every answer. I'm the creeping blade, feeding off the arrogance as they crumble from within. I am Eris Illuminator, the Empress of Discord, yeah. So says the word of Asmodeus. But what? What is that thing? This is still very King in Yellow coded. Ha 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 ha. Did you two honestly think my true form was that of a teenage girl? I think it's literally whatever you want it to be, honestly. No, I'm older than time itself. I feels liberating to break free from that weak mortal shell. So this is what you really look like. It suits you. Why, thank you. Doesn't matter what form you take. Whatever you are, I'm taking Celeste's soul back. Kick her ass, Tyrion. Does she even have an ass anymore? I'm looking at that design. I think she might be assless Celeste. I think that we might be doomed on that front. Come then, let me carve out your soul and mount them in the fields of Malbolge. I can't remember. Okay. Cool. I like how this reset her health bar, because presumably it also would have reset mine, but I need to be careful. I was bound by the same rules as her now. I couldn't tell lies in this form, even accidentally. Why don't we pick up where we left off? You can't accidentally tell a lie. What you can do is be wrong if it's an accident. That is what would happen. Lie is an element of deliberate intent. There's a certain fundamental disconnect between accidentally saying something that is incorrect and saying something that is a lie. So what would have to be the case is that he's not allowed to say anything that is not true, which would be virtually impossible to get around. Like, you would have to create a being that has some sort of, like... When did you ult and change form? Just 5 seconds before she ulted and changed her form. I've established that Beatrice didn't go missing until 2 p.m. I wonder, why would you go to so much trouble to make me doubt that? When she gave her testimony, Celeste said that Eris and Beatrice entered the prayer room at 1:40 p.m. But from the accent I declared, I knew Beatrice didn't disappear until 2 p.m. Why did Eris change Celeste's memories? Eris clearly changed Celeste's memories, but for what purpose? Well, that's a turn? Well, no, because we already knew that she was some sort of, like, eldritch demon-y kind of thing. And we already knew that, like, Tyrion is some kind of, like, Heavensborn sort of thing. Like, he's an Aasimar or something like that, to put it in D&D terms. Also, we're in some sort of weird celestial plane. I think his wings might be metaphorical. He might not actually have wings. Maybe he does, but, Okay, so if I tell a lie here, I just die. But,
What if...
Okay, it's something that she needs Celeste to believe, but the, like, actual verbiage of what we're specifically going for is gonna be tricky. Like, is it the truth, the events?
What if...
It would have to be either the truth or the events. And she needs her to think that happened earlier, because that's what she's trying to get to believe happened. So is it the truth or the events? It's kind of a 50-50 on that. If it's this, then it must actually be the events, I feel like. Yeah, I don't know if it's the truth or the events, but, like, the events reads clearer if it's, like, occurred earlier. That feels like that's a little bit cleaner, so I guess I'll pick this one, but it feels kind of 50-50, and I kind of hate that. I believe you need Celeste to think that the events happened much earlier. Staying quiet, that won't work this time. Celeste McCoy remembered the attack occurring much earlier than it actually did, so says the word of Horus. Nothing to say, you can't stay quiet forever. I didn't need her to think that specifically. I simply wanted to confound your ability to deduce what actually happened. Yes, all she's saying here is that there are other lies that she could have told instead of that lie, so she did need something that, that may be, but I think you had a specific reason to move her timeline back. An event occurred that required Eris to change Celeste's memories, so says the word of Horus. Shit. Okay, I don't think it's that. It's probably not that. Wait, also, how would it have made any sense for her to have done that at 140 if Garrick Pierce died at 245 anyway? I think that should have come up earlier. An event occurred that required Eris to change Celeste's memories. I mean, it's guessing it's my death. I don't actually think that that matters for timeline purposes, I think. But I could be wrong. It's probably one of these three things, or this one. Or it could, I guess, be this, because it's the same as the autopsy report, I think. What were we trying to specifically prove with the specifics? Because it has something to do with timeline. So, the thing that we had to say is that she has to be the patron, which she has to become the patron early enough that Arya Steelwind goes on her rampage. So it's probably not Garrick Pierce because that's 245, so that leaves plenty of time regardless there. Would she have had enough time to have done that? Like, so that could also have something to do with the marriage meeting here. So this could be it, because she has to have signed the contract before 140 so that this could happen. But we don't actually know that this happened because... Like, I don't think that we've drawn the conclusion that she does this because she's under contract at this point in time, because she is under contract, like, that's why she does this. We haven't connected that yet, so that doesn't really matter. But... So, it's gotta be, I feel like, either this or it's gotta be this. But is 205... Because they mentioned that they're... Actually, no. Doesn't that matter for this, though? So couldn't I actually... I feel like there's actually quite a few different things, actually, that this could be bringing up, but... Because let's say that this gets signed at, like, When did Arya leave her meeting with Theon? 140. She gets up and leaves at 140. So the contract has to be signed by 140. This contract she's claiming gets signed at 140, is what Eris is trying to claim. Or she manipulated their memories for that purpose. Garrick Pierce dies at 245, though, so we don't fulfill the stipulations of the contract until 245. So... Technically speaking, as this is written, I don't think that this actually matters because she's allowed to kill him after the other events have happened. So she would have had to have gotten Arya to cooperate and then after that kills Garrick Pierce. So that's fine. That actually is not the problem. But what we need is for her to think that we don't see Beatrice until 230. Because we need to have signed the contract before Lloyd von Sanctus died at 205. So it's either this or it's this, and I don't know which of those it is. It could even, I think, be this one, because even died at 2:18 p.m. is kind of whatever, but Okay, I'm going to look up which of those three, because all three of those contradict the timeline that Eris is trying to set up here. And I'm not sure which one I actually have to click, but they all prove the same thing. It's apparently this one. I actually thought it should be I thought it should be this one. So, okay, whatever. Was the death of Lloyd von Sanctus. You need Celeste to think that you signed a contract much earlier than 2 p.m. That's because Lloyd von Sanctus' death occurred at 2:05 p.m., which would imply that you killed me, convinced Celeste to sign a contract, and made Celeste trick Arya into signing another contract, all in the span of 5 minutes. If that's true, could it be possible that Celeste isn't the patron? What? It's the only logical conclusion. The timeline is far too short. Even if you remember being tricked by her, we can't trust your memories. Isn't that right, Eris? Your desperation is almost pitiful. A response that there's no room for doubt. Celeste McCoy was the person who gave Arya Steelwind that blood contract. So says the word of Asmodeus. I knew it. Is something wrong? I know the truth is hard to accept sometimes, but Celeste did betray Arya's trust. She always spoke in technicalities. I couldn't take that claim at face value, but this could also be a trick. I could declare outright that Celeste wasn't the patron, but if I was wrong about that, I'd most definitely die. First, I would need to assume that Celeste wasn't the patron. What would logically follow from that? Why would Celeste hand Arya a blood contract? If Celeste wasn't the patron, that contract would have already been signed. And I've already concluded that the blood contract was disguised as a normal legal document. I recalled something happening before we entered the prayer room. What was it? I actually don't remember this at all.
What if?
It's probably this. I don't remember this happening, though. Let's actually look at the other options to see what we could actually be looking at as other alternatives. I don't think any of the other words actually form...
What if?
I think this has to be right just by a process of elimination here, because I don't actually see anything that makes a coherent statement. But I don't remember this happening. Oops, in front of Celeste. Maybe at the very beginning? Yeah. As she skidded away, I saw something fall out of her pocket. It was her runestone. Oh, Arya, you dropped something. As Celeste went to pick it up, she accidentally activated it. An image of some evidence appeared for a brief moment, but Arya quickly snatched it from Celeste's hands. Wait, is that why everyone's gathered here today? Celeste, don't just invade her privacy like that. Don't be like that, I'm really happy for you. Marriage documents. Would Arya have taken a picture of that contract? If it were disguised as a legal document, taking pictures of it would have been illegal. But if a picture of the contract had been in Arya's runestone, she technically handed it to her. But that didn't necessarily mean she wasn't the patron either. Is something wrong? You look conflicted. No, from the very beginning she'd been trying to get in my head. She thrived on doubt and mistrust, but I'd always known from the very beginning. Yeah, I kind of just had to guess this one from, like, process of elimination, because none of the other statements could have made any actual sense, but I honestly don't remember that happening. Celeste would never betray Arya like that. Celeste McCoy is not the patron described in Arya Steelwind's blood contract, so says the words of Horus. The blood contract seems strange, unlike Beatrice's Okay, this gets added at the bottom. Celeste McCoy saw Arya drop this contract before she entered the prayer room with Tyrion. Due to the Empress of Discord changing memory, she can't remember what was written on this contract. This is, technically speaking, probably not true, because if you see a photo of a contract, you have not handed the contract over to the other person. Arg, even now, you trust her that much? But wait, but that means you didn't betray Arya, Celeste. She only manipulated your memories after the fact. She wanted to make you think that you did. So it's not my fault? It isn't. That had a far more unsettling implication. Someone else was the patron, but who was it? One move at a time, Tyrion. The endgame would reveal itself in time. Celeste wasn't the one who secured Arya's compliance and cooperation. Doesn't that make your contract flawed? Please, I thought you were an attorney. The contract states that Celeste would engage in actions deemed necessary to secure the compliance and cooperation of Arya Steelwind. No further actions were necessary. She was already under my influence by then. But that means none of this is her fault. Think again, Heavensborn. Neither Arya Steelwind nor Beatrice Frege were directly responsible for the death of Garrick Pierce, so says the words of Asmodeus. Right, there's still the death of Pierce. It doesn't matter who's responsible for the massacre as a whole. Here, all that matters is the validity of my contract. You act like you're in control of the situation, but you've been nervous ever since I began disputing your contract. You're hiding something, aren't you? Who can say for sure? The second paragraph is vague, but what about the first and third paragraphs? Something is off here. Wait. Is it possible that I didn't die? Ha, are you still in denial? I thought you were ready to die to save your beloved Celeste. Answer the question, Eris. We can't trust Celeste's memories. That memory where she confirmed my death could all be a fabrication. You wish to cling to that hope? Then let me say it plainly for you. Celeste McCoy did in fact observe that Tyrion Cuthbert was dead. Yeah, that's because I died in that other guy's medical office when I thought that, what's his name, I did not alter that memory. She says so says the words of Asmodeus. I'm sorry, Tyrion. How do you revive me, Eris? Do you even have the power to resurrect people from the dead? Who do you think you're talking to? Of course I do. But if you doubt me, why don't you declare that Tyrion Cuthbert never died? Knowing her, she could be baiting me into telling a lie. I did die, but it was equally likely that she was bluffing. If you still doubt that I resurrected you, I'll state this. Beings of my power are able to resurrect people from the dead, so says the words of Asmodeus. I kind of agree with this. I guess I'll do the interpret here. Also, beings of my power are able to resurrect people from the dead does not mean that she is capable of doing it. It's kind of like saying that beings of my power are capable of performing heart surgery, which is true, because I'm just a human, and people of my power level of human can do heart surgery. Does not mean that I can do heart surgery. I'm gonna guess this. Why do you need to specify that beings of your power can do that? Is it possible it's not a simple or easy feat to accomplish, or that you yourself can't actually do it? For example, would Maranath be able to resurrect from the people a person from the dead using the contract? Let me save you some trouble. I'll say it for you. The Empress of Discord can't resurrect people easily. So this is the word of Horus. I'm glad that I added that last caveat at the end of that, because like otherwise I would have gotten nuked, because I think she can actually do it. It's not the same as saying it was impossible for me to do it, but would require a large amount of effort on your part. Perhaps, but recall my previous declaration. Celeste was there, and by all accounts she concluded you were dead. How thoroughly did you check me? I have experience in first aid. It wasn't good. You weren't breathing and your heart was stopped. She tried to resuscitate you for several minutes, but to no avail. Great, there was no way my body could survive that long naturally without oxygen and blood flow. And Eris just confirmed that Celeste spent several minutes trying to resuscitate me, but there had to be more to this than I was seeing. What could have created this scenario? We've been waiting for this. Finally, it showed up. You may have been able to resurrect me, but you had a far easier way to create that scenario, and luckily for you, Beatrice was there and under your control. Beatrice can resurrect people from the dead? No, the opposite is actually true. Beatrice Frege cast feigned death on Tyrion Cuthbert, so says the word of Horus. Finally! What? I'm sorry, Celeste, but I was never dead. She just used a spell to trick you. No. So everything I did, it was for nothing. But that means you never resurrected him. He was never dead in the first place. The contract only said that he was apparently dead. All I did was revive him. You did not revive me. Beatrice revived me. By making Beatrice release a spell which allowed him to wake up. It doesn't allow you in the contract to use proxies. That eliminated the first paragraph as a possible weak point. Alright, we'll have to find another one, I guess, but that only left the death of Garrick Pierce at Celeste's hand. Okay, so we're gonna have to find something about this, but honestly speaking, like... So... Where is it? It was... With the apparent death of Tyrion Cuthbert, we did apparently die. The Empress of Discord shall revive him. It doesn't say using any of her agents, it doesn't say using any of her proxies, it just says that she herself will do it, which she did not. So... This is not actually a legal contract at that point in time, but I guess the game doesn't really care about that. This has had that sort of problem where it's just like, you know, it's sort of clumps together like all sorts of affiliated peoples under one sort of contract. when in reality, it as written here, it's the individual. Same sort of thing with Maranath killing William Frege earlier. Like that sort of like lumps someone else into that murder when in reality there's no specific connection between them, other than like some very obvious ones that the law doesn't really cover. They tend to do that where it's just like, okay, it's because you're affiliated with someone that counts as you doing it. I don't really like that, but something happened with Pierce, didn't it? What are you hiding? Whatever could you be talking about? Your contract says that Celeste must bring about the demise of Garrett Pierce by her own hand. Since you wrote that contract, that must have been your intent from the beginning, so why are you so nervous? Something went wrong, didn't it? If you want to stay quiet, I'll just... All this could be another elaborate trick. I need to be careful. I need to find out exactly what went wrong. The only person who knew what truly happened in that room was Eris, but that could still be used to my advantage. If it's possible that Celeste didn't kill Garrett Pierce? Are you serious? He's the man who killed her adoptive father, and he was originally slated to be executed next month. She didn't have a rational reason not to trade his life for yours. Yeah, as bad as it sounds, that would have been an easy choice for me. Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been an easy choice. She may have wanted to, but something else might have happened. Perhaps Beatrice or Arya misinterpreted one of your commands and killed him against her wishes. How tedious do you plan to make this? Neither the Empress of Discord, Arya Stillwind, nor Beatrice Frege killed Garrett Pierce. Garrett Pierce killed Garrett Pierce. Well, what if you forced Celeste to kill him? She signed that contract already, you had no control over her at that time. The contract states that she needed to kill Pierce of her own volition and agency. Do you honestly think I would make a foolish mistake like that? Celeste McCoy had complete control of her actions until Pierce died, so says the words of Asmodeus. But what if someone else killed Garrett Pierce on accident? Maybe a member of the Kingsguard who survived and entered the prayer room. Cackle, try again, Tyrion. Garrett Pierce's death was not accidental. It was intentional and committed with malice, and while I'm at it... Celeste, Tyrion, Beatrice, Arya, and I were the only creatures in the room with Garrett Pierce when he died. Do you understand now? I can refute any possible explanations you may have for Garrett Pierce's death, but the truth of the matter is... Garrett Pierce's death occurred because of Celeste McCoy's actions, so says the words of Asmodeus. Have you given up? Have I finally extinguished? No. Did I? I don't have spells. I can't believe it. I can't believe you fell for that. What? You've never thrown consecutive declarations at me like that before. It's because I'm getting close, isn't it? You can freely manipulate Celeste's memories of what happens, and I don't have any evidence that implies what actually transpired in the prayer room. The only person who could tell me that was you. What? You thought you could overwhelm me by shooting down all my theories. I just have to take the sword? I actually don't know how the spell works for that. Let me check. Also, would Tyrion be able to even do that under those circumstances? I kind of think it was probably Pierce. Manipulate water. Wait, where is shape water? Up all the way here. So it was this that gets used. It's a while concentrating type effect. It's Pierce or me? Yeah, it's either Pierce or me. But I think it's more likely to be Pierce. It wouldn't be Tyrion, because I don't think that Tyrion has that kind of malice during that moment there, and while my memories are compromised in some ways, I don't think that I've actually got a blood contract. So I don't think that, although maybe Tyrion does, but if that's the case, I could be getting, like, directly controlled here, and she would just instantly win. So, like, whatever's stipulated in there, she can't control me. At best, she can manipulate my memories. But I don't think she's got that either, because she could be manipulating the facts of the case. Like, that would be a really interesting thing if these things start changing because she's, like, messing with them. So, it's got to be Pierce, because I don't think that Tyrion would have killed him with malice. I think that Garrett Pierce did it out of spite against Eris. But all he did was tell me the exact state of the room when Garrett Pierce died, and now I can figure out what actually happened. But wait. Who killed Garrett Pierce? Going to go out on a friggin' limb here. Eris Elmater, Empress of Discord. No, stop this. I'm not sure what could possibly drive him to do something like that. Oh, true, despite Eris makes sense, yeah. But when he was in the prayer room, Garrett Pierce chose to take his own life. What? You know what that means, don't you? But for the sake of it, I'll state it in a way that makes it abundantly clear. Stop this. Stop this right now. Celeste McCoy did not bring about the demise of Garrett Pierce by her own hand. So says the word of Horus. The conditions of your contract were impossible for Celeste to fulfill. That renders it logically invalid. And that's checkmate, Eris. You filthy little... Do we get everyone else, like, freed out of this, though? Because, like, there's a lot of other people who she still directly controls. Contract nullified. Cool. Wait, why are we back here? You're back? Time happened? Well, I didn't... Okay. Does this mean you... I successfully voided Celeste's blood contract. I looked inside my satchel, opening the folder where I've been keeping Celeste's blood contract. There's only ash inside it now. But you're still alive. How? You. Her face was tightened in pure contempt and rage, but she wasn't looking at me this time. Me? You little bitch. I could have accepted losing to a Heavensborn, but you didn't lose to her. You lost to me. What are you talking about? Tyrion's the one that beat you. I did beat you. Oh, I guess she's mad that, like, Celeste didn't fall to the temptation of killing Garrett Pierce. Wait, I remember what really happened now. Tyrion, please wake up. You can't... This, it appears that he's quite dead. You should be more careful, Celeste. You might hurt someone if you swing that dangerous thing around. I was right about you all along. I should have never trusted you. I like your enthusiasm, but there's still something you can do to save him. But what? What is this? Wait, why did she wake Garrett Pierce up? Do you feel that pit of dread in your chest? It's the same fear my dad felt after you stabbed him. And with his life, you'll have your beloved Tyrion back. What are you waiting for? End him, Celeste. I can't. What? What are you talking about? Tyrion, he wouldn't have wanted this. He never has to know, Celeste. I can protect you from his Eye of Horus. That doesn't matter. I can't do it. It's just, that man killed your father. Not to mention he's a dead man walking. You've lived a lifetime of killing people. What's one more person? I won't suffer your self-righteous pity, you bastard. Don't misunderstand me. Right now, I want nothing more than to end your... Do it. But Tyrion's ideals are what saved me. That part of him is wonderful and beautiful. I would never betray those ideals. Aren't I the one who put him on death row? I don't think I have any actual moral fabric that says that I don't think that Garrett Pierce should die because I put him on death row. You're actually serious, aren't you? You'd seriously sacrifice him for that? I won't do it. I'm not going to sign that contract. Contract? Ah, I see now. What? So you're his little consort, aren't you? Fikakwa. But wait, get out of the way, you idiot. Drop the weapon, Pierce. Don't be stupid. The only stupid one here is you bastard. Should have known from the beginning. No matter what you choose, you're never going to let me live. They? Every choice I make is mine alone. Wait, stop. I'll see you all in hell. Damn it. Menace. We're trying to heal him? Damn it, he aimed straight for his heart. No, come on, you wasted human flesh. Wake up. I need you alive. What the hell did you just do? Pierce is dead and I signed your stupid contract. Now bring Tyrion back. No. Wait, she doesn't have to bring him back because, like, the contract was voided. Pierce was dead anyway, so I thought I could catch her on a technicality, but I never realized what I actually did. No, that means she just doesn't have to do the resurrection, because Pierce being dead is not actually, like, the evidence in the contract. This is gone now. Oh, no, it's still here. Yeah, so, like, because that didn't happen, what should actually have happened was, like, they just don't bring Tyrion back, which he would have come back to life anyway, but, what's the duration on this? Feign death, an hour? No, just while concentrating. Could be as long as they wanted. Also, she could have, after that, like, just killed Tyrion. Like, because she doesn't need to bring him back anymore, so she could have just done that as a spite move. Signed a faulty blood contract, one drafted by me. Where do you get off acting like you're any better than them? No, it's not faulty. It's where, like, all of the stipulations on the contract remain the stipulations in the contract. It's not faulty. It just means that she doesn't have to actually resurrect Tyrion. It becomes faulty when they try to pretend that the terms have to go through. So that's actually not really whatever. Where do you get off acting like you're any better than them? What? Ideals? Righteousness? Don't give me that bullshit. I could have accepted losing Heavensborn, but you're a human and you're a goddamn killer. All of you are rotten to your disgusting cores. I mean, I'm not going to disagree. You would tear out each other's throats if I gave you the smallest reason to. No, you need a relatively decent reason. Tyrion is the only person here with a trace of the celestial self-righteous morality. If that's what you think of them, you really don't know anything about humanity. They can flip on a dime, they're kind of both. Celeste is far more than what you're saying. She's far more caring and empathetic than I am. I can never even come close. I don't think that's true. It has nothing to do with whether I'm a Heavensborn or if she's human. It's also probably true. But I think I understand you a little more, Eris. Is that so? Let me ask you a question, Eris. Do you feel any amount of satisfaction when you killed my mother? What? So, you figured that out, did you? I figured that out ages ago. When you went on a little tirade about how much you enjoyed killing Heavensborn, I had some suspicions. And how does it feel, Tyrion? The person who killed your mother, the person who ruined your entire life, is standing right in front of you. What do you have to say? Nothing to say? Say something, damn it. I think all I feel for you right now is pity. Oh, that's rich. You pity me? Your existence is an infinitesimal moment in my eternal existence. And you put all of this effort into making me suffer. Well, was it what everything you imagined it would be? Did it satisfy you at all? I bet you didn't feel anything when you killed my mother. It was just another drop of evil into your empty soul. I was excited. It was far too simple. I didn't truly make her suffer. That's why I didn't... Oh, is that right? Well, what if you did succeed in throwing me into despair? Would you have felt any sort of satisfaction? Of course I... Demons can't tell lies, Eris. You can't lie to us, and you can't lie to yourself. No, that can't... And that's why I pity you. You're fated to be like us from the moment of your creation, weren't you? That's why you hate humanity so much. You envy us. Well, I think she was also probably, like, literally forged to hate humanity as, like, just an element of being a demon, and if that's how they go with them in this. What did you just say? You're envious of humanity. You don't grow, you don't change, you can't become a better version of yourself. You're right, your existence probably will be eternal. You'll be eternally evil. You'll also be eternally unhappy and eternally pitiful. That's why you envy us, because you'll never be free from that fate. There are definitely some moments where she seems pretty happy, but, you know, that is completely... You can't say it, can you? You can't refute my claim because it would be a lie. You know what? Maybe you are right. Maybe I'll never be satisfied. Maybe I won't feel any satisfaction from killing you. But I'm still going to try. I would love to know what exactly is going on with these. I don't think that does anything. To think that you threaten violence in my presence. Arrogant witch. We've sort of established, Dragon, that doesn't do shit. This isn't the end for a creature like her. She'll be back one day. Yet, you look no more perturbed. We're not done here. There's something I need to tell all of you. Wait, is she not going to be here for this last part? Are you serious? The patron is still unknown to us, but with Celeste's contract voided, she should have her real memories back. Do you remember what happened in the prayer room? You were the only person who witnessed one of the deaths. I've really been trying to remember what was on Ares' contract when I caught a glimpse of it, but I think that's the memory Ares manipulated the most. Permanent brain damage, I understand. It's possible that she will need some time to fully recover from the Empress's demonic influence. I still don't get why they woke Pierce up. That makes no sense to me. We don't have that kind of time. That demon led us around in circles for the entire morning, not to mention that we've lost nearly an hour due to Cuthbert disputing that contract. It's just past noon. Right, wait. That's a lot of time that passed then. Alright, we have less than 3 hours before every magical trace of the crime scene disappears. Could you try testifying? Maybe reviewing everything will help jog your memory. Okay, I'll do my best. Just try to tell us what you remember, Celeste. Any detail might help, whether it's true or not. Okay. I think I remember now. We went to meet Pierce at 1:50 p.m. and we heard that commotion outside at 2:20 p.m. I saw Arya attacking the guards there, and I fought her for about 15 minutes before she broke past me. When I followed her into the prayer room, I found her there with Beatrice and Eris. How did she get tied up by Arya, though? I found her there with Beatrice and Eris. They knocked Arya, Tyrion, and Pierce unconscious. Why do they have to knock out Arya? I checked Tyrion's body and thought he was dead, but Beatrice had just cast Feign Death on him. Anyways, Eris offered her deal to me, but I couldn't go through with killing Pierce. I think you know the rest. A few months after Pierce died, Aster, the Inquisition, and the Kingsguard showed up to arrest Arya. Only the times of each event have changed. Her testimony remains the same. Even if there's nothing apparently significant, I'd still like to cross-examine her. Go ahead, then. Why did they knock out Arya? So she remains in control sort of after that. So why did they have to? They were trying to frame her, so she did need to appear to be acting on her own behests. That's probably why she's like no longer being controlled up to that point. But she could have been under their control right up to the point where the Kingsguard arrived. So I don't necessarily know why they needed to knock her unconscious there. But we now know for certain that meeting was at 2 p.m. Yeah, she only changed my memories so she could trick all of us. Considering that my memories are intact, she must not have had any power to change them. Yes, she never actually used her demonic power to revive you. She merely had Beatrice release the Feigned Death spell that she originally cast. Anyways, who did you see attacking the guards? Was it Arya or Beatrice? I saw Arya attacking the guards past her, and I fought for about 15 minutes before she broke past me. Originally said that you fought her for a lot longer. I had to account for the time I spent speaking to Eris. I had a feeling something was off about that. I knew Tyrion would be really meticulous about the timeline of the murder, so I had to make my testimony match up with the time of Pierce's death. I'm really sorry. Let's just focus on the matter at hand. When I followed her into the prayer room, I found her there with Beatrice and Eris. They knocked Arya, Tyrion, and Pierce unconscious. So we weren't wrong about Beatrice sneaking past you during your fight. Yeah, now that I look back on it, it was probably a distraction so Beatrice could sneak past me. So what is it, Cuthbert? The patrons working together with Eris. Why would Eris use Beatrice to knock out Arya? I never thought of that. Frankly, I find it hard to believe that the patron willingly went along with Empress's convoluted plan. They clearly needed Pierce to die. No, actually that doesn't matter either. I was thinking that maybe she needed to do that so that Celeste would think that Arya had been under normal control, like she needed to... But since Celeste's memories were being manipulated, that's actually irrelevant. They clearly needed Pierce to die, and relying on McCoy to do it seems foolhardy. Right, well, was it possible that Eris went off script then? She definitely didn't seem like the type of demon to take orders from a human. I checked Tyrion's body and thought he was dead, but Beatrice just cast Feigned Death on him. I can't believe you fell for such an obvious deception. This is why wizards invest ranks in spellcraft. I thought Tyrion was dead. I wasn't thinking clearly. Perhaps it's best to stick to the facts from now. Anyways, Eris offered her deal to me, but I couldn't go through with killing Pierce. I think you know the rest. To think that one blood contract could have such an effect on the investigation. I should have known she was up to something, but I just wasn't thinking. You were put in a difficult situation. It takes less than the fact you stuck to your ideals despite that. A few minutes after Pierce died, Alistair, the Inquisition, and the Kingsguard showed up to arrest Arya. This must have been after they went to investigate the fire in the common room. I'm surprised Aster went to the prayer room as well. I'd have thought the Kingsguard would have kept him in a secure location. Those were my orders, but His Majesty demanded they secure the cathedral for the safety of everyone here. We're going to get a super... I don't think we are. It's too late in the game to really do that. I think we're... Garrett kind of implied it already. Yeah, I guess so. That might be sequel bait, though. Ever the Ultra roast that one. Testimony didn't appear to add any new information, but wasn't multiple murders and Eris changing people's memories? There might have been something I'd missed. We specifically comment on this, but I don't know what would be... important here. You think they might drop someone new last minute? Very possible. Took Tyrion's body and thought he was dead, but Beatrice just cast Feigned Death on him. Eris offered a deal to me, but I couldn't go through with killing Pierce. I think you know the rest. A few minutes after Pierce died, Aster... Wasn't he trapped in a force bubble? Wait. Is that fake? Oh, 1 hour. Okay. What's the timeline on that? So yeah, he would have popped out right at 3 o'clock. So that kind of matches correctly. So I guess that's not a fake or something like that. But um, a few minutes after Pierce died. Wait, is 15 minutes a few minutes? Let's figure that. God. Okay, there's no. I'm gonna die if I do this. Let's try this. I don't actually know that this matters. Well, it's a few minutes after he died at 2:45. Like, that's kind of wibbly. She might have. That might. Does that provide any new information, though? I don't know. Don't you only die when you're ulting? Maybe. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually, but I think that we're safe here. Yeah, so I'm just trying shit. What is it, Cuthbert? Celeste, sure Aster showed up only a few minutes after Pierce died? Yeah, I remember that part pretty well. Eris seemed really worried about being seen by them. Have you figured something out, Mr. Cuthbert? It's just that. May I remind you that we're extremely pressed for time. Out with it. Stop wasting your time. Celeste, Garrett Pierce died at 2:45, and after Aster showed up in the prayer room only a few minutes afterwards. I feel like somebody under those situations could easily say that 15 minutes, like, it goes by and then you think that it's, like, been a few minutes. I don't think there's any contradiction here. Yeah, where are you? Wait. That raises a big question. How did Aster enter the prayer room around 2:45 p.m. when he should have been trapped in the Force Cage until 3 p.m.? Well, wait a minute, you're not serious, are you? No, McCoy's memories are clearly unreliable. My men all reported that His Majesty led into the prayer room after he exited the Force Cage. Normally, that would be more concrete when compared to Celeste's testimony, but we can't trust their testimony. What are you talking about? While I was disputing Celeste's contract, Eris declared that she made contracts with multiple members of the Kingsguard. What? They were working together with her, and if these contracts were structured similarly to Celeste, she must have had the ability to manipulate their memories. That means they've intentionally or unintentionally lied during questioning. How could I have let this happen? That's still ridiculous. Are you saying that everyone who remembered seeing His Majesty in that Force Cage had their memories manipulated? No, I think there's a simpler explanation. And what would that be? His Majesty must have been a powerful mage. Wouldn't he know how to cast Major Illusion? If he placed an illusion inside the Force Cage, he could take advantage of the chaos in the contracted Kingsguard to slip away. Even if we assume that he somehow escaped an inescapable Force Cage, how did Aster know to head to the prayer room? I understand your point, but do you understand what you're implying? I'm not trying to imply anything, I'm just stating the facts that we know. We know that a human, whether willingly or otherwise, worked with the Empress of Discord to orchestrate this massacre. He was deeply trusted by Arya Steelwind, so much so that she didn't even think twice about signing a contract that he gave her. There's only one person who meets those criteria. Didn't we already figure out that he's definitely not the patron, though? Oh, he could have a blood contract with Arya, I guess, but that doesn't work because of the way that these are written, I believe. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it could be, but there's a couple problems with that. Like, I don't know if he can actually sign blood contracts. I guess that does answer the question, though. Like, I was theorizing maybe humans can write blood contracts to each other, but I kind of thought they couldn't. Aster Weavengard, the reigning king of our kingdom. Quiet, all of you. Mr. Cuthbert, do you understand the weight of this accusation? Who's to say he's human? Ah, good point. You're claiming that the king collaborated with the demon. I do, but I'm hoping this is all a misunderstanding. After all, Eris's goals seem to be nothing beyond sowing as much discord as possible. She made us all believe that Celeste and Arya were both murderers. If Aster has information that can save Arya, we have to find it. Very well, then. I suppose it's only right, then, with everything that has transpired, the king should be allowed to explain himself. Kingsguard, please escort His Majesty to the stand. We do know, actually, that Aster had motivations to get rid of, like, the, four pillar groups, and he didn't seem to have any problem with Lucio Steelwind in particular. So he could very well actually be the person who did this deliberately to get rid of those people. But since he didn't like remove the structures that are underlying those people, he's not really changed anything. But that could just be a flaw in his personal reasoning. Thank you for cooperating, Aster. Of course, I understand your position, Mr. Cuthbert. I'm hoping you can shed some light on how Arya came to be under the blood contract in the first place. It's possible that Eris tricked you somehow and made you carry out the massacre. There has to be something we're not seeing despite what the evidence points to. I really want to know, like, if he is human, or if humans can sign blood contracts with each other, or if, like, that's a part of it, but, I guess the as written for this, I'm not sure how this goes, but, yeah. Evidence? Are you referring to Celeste's testimony? I'm sorry to say this, but can we even trust her testimony? She's no longer under the effects of a blood contract, which you claim no longer exists. But only you have the power to manifest them in the first place. What are you getting at? I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I suppose what I mean is, after everything that just happened, how can we trust you? What? You disappeared for quite some time to who knows where, and the only person who was there with you is Celeste and a demon who can clearly alter people's memories. And wasn't it a little convenient she was burnt to cinders almost immediately after your return? Hey, that wasn't on me. That was Dragon Guy. She said multiple times that didn't actually kill her. And now you're slinging me out as the patron, the one ultimately responsible for the murders of Von Sanctus and Sybil. And Garrick Pierce, but, you know. Well, that was a suicide, but, you know. If that demon made you into her puppet, wouldn't this be exactly what you wanted? That's right. How do we know this Heavensborn can be trusted? We've all heard the story. He's practically a dissident. He's an agent of the theocracy, as plain as day. I can feel the room turning against us. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you after everything you've done. But I suppose there's one way to confirm your theory. And what's that? You use your divine edict on me, just like you've done several times before. If I truly wasn't linked with the demon, shouldn't I have a contract with her? It'll appear even if I was made to forget about it. Wait, that's right. We already tried that before and it didn't work. Which means he definitely doesn't have a contract with her. So, the chain of things here is that, like, I sort of assumed that whoever does have this contract with her was being in some way forced to do the things that are making them go about this. It is hypothetically possible that Aster de Wivengard has no blood contract with the Empress of Discord, but he deliberately decided to do this out of his own volition. That doesn't seem like the way that Eris works, though. Eris doesn't seem to like that, so I do think that's possibly still someone else, but there is the possibility still that it is Aster. If he just did this off of his own volition and decided that that's what he wants to do. Is Aster going to be the big bad guy in charge of Eris? Is that the real they're going to pull? That's definitely possible. But here's the thing. He probably isn't if they got this litigious of a society and he's like a demon lord. He's like a demon prince king thing. The reason that wouldn't be very likely is that he would have a blood contract with the Empress of Discord, but he would be the one who would be the one in charge of that, but they would still have a blood contract. Kind of like how, like, Beatrice is, like, the patron and master of Maranath. Where is Maranath in this thing? Interesting. But, yeah, so Beatrice being, like, the patron and owner of Maranath, she has a blood contract with him as well. So, would demons have blood contracts with each other? That's a good point. Maybe they don't. I feel like they would, but it's possible they don't. Maybe they've got their own internal hierarchy that has to be like a buy-to-buy without contracts. So, it's possible. Which means that he definitely doesn't have a contract with her. Why aren't you doing it? I can't. I already tried and nothing appeared. I see. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert. I know you cared deeply for her. But we all saw Celeste's blood contract, and we heard your earlier confession. Not to mention, we have no way of knowing whether Celeste is truly free from Eris's influence. If Lady Steele is to be saved, we all must accept what needs to be done. I don't like saying this, but I think it's time for this trial to come to its conclusion. Don't you, Your Grace? Was he really just defending himself, or was this something else? Either way, there was clearly a reason why he hadn't been in the Force Cage for as long as he was claiming to. Eris went to so much trouble to hide that fact in Celeste's memories. Aster had to have been part of the plan, intentionally or unintentionally. What part of the plan required Aster's physical involvement?
Maybe.
I feel like it's probably this. I'm allowed to just say shit now. He needed to trick Arya into signing the contract somehow, but you've seen how she is around him. That wouldn't have been very hard to do. No, Arya may have been extremely lovesick around him, but she's still an attorney. She would have been careful to read any contract she signed. Well, we sort of established that there's actually like something layered over top of it, so it's actually like magically nullified anyway. I don't even know why they'd be allowed, in the context of this sort of game, to be allowed to have that kind of contract go through. We just deduced earlier that her blood contract was disguised as a normal legal document. And I remember something. When he caught a glimpse of it, he immediately started teasing her. I'm really trying to, but I just can't remember what I saw. If I was teasing her about it, it might have been related to her relationship with Aster. What did Arya think she was signing? I'm sorry, but I know it doesn't really narrow it down. No, that's exactly the clue I needed. Really? Celeste. Arya signed... She didn't sign a marriage license. She thought she signed it. Whatever. Are these licenses or are these something else? Ask her, there's one piece of physical evidence that proves you were involved in this. Really? The patron controlled Arya and committed each of the murders without having to do anything personally. But this was all contingent on tricking her into signing the contract in the first place. I recall that you went to a meeting with the High Speaker right before the massacre started. It was to discuss your marriage to Arya, wasn't it? Yes, that's correct. Asked her, the blood contract that Arya signed needed to look like a normal legal document, but I just realized something while reading it. The language use would have made sense under a different context. In that contract, Arya gave you her mind, body, and soul. It would bind her to you so long as you both live. Wait, are you saying? No. In other words, till death do you part. They said that it had an illusion over it, but that sort of implies that they didn't need to put an illusion over it if they were able to get that parlance in there. I also don't think that this is actually the parlance used in a wedding contract. And they would also have to have the names there. They couldn't say the patron. And they couldn't say the person who hands the contract. If it's a marriage contract, that would be really strange. Like, you would look at that and you'd be like, why is that like that? I think that would be a bit weird to her. That would raise some red flags, but... Whoever tricked my daughter will surely destroy the evidence by now. Just kind of accept it as mostly vibes at this point. But I don't. That demon went out of the way to destroy her memories of signing it. I doubt they would have left any copies of the marriage license to be found. Indeed, bringing such heavy accusations against the High Speaker or the King will require more than just speculation. First, he dared tell the King to testify. Now he's trying to indict the High Speaker. When will this madness end? Oh, it might be both of them. That is true, actually. They're bringing up a good point. It might have actually been both of them. I have more than just speculation, Your Grace. I have a copy of it. But your Divine Edict only recreates the terms of the blood contract, not the material that was written on. The original document wouldn't be visible on your copy. That wasn't the copy I was talking about, Aster. What? Don't you wonder how I knew about the blood contract? Every attorney has a magical runestone. It's fitted with artificery. You can use them to take pictures of evidence and crime scenes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. And do you know that Arya took a picture of the marriage license she signed? I forgot about that. What? She was so happy to finally have your union codified that she took a picture of your marriage license. Even though it was technically illegal to do so. Why would she? The moment she regained consciousness, she thought it was a danger to others. She had no memories of what she did that day, but she knew something was wrong. That's why she locked herself in a cell with an anti-magic field. She was being rightfully cautious, but had she simply left any of those anti-magic fields and checked her runestones, she would have found a picture of her marriage license with the exact same words as her blood contract. So I'll ask you this, Aster. Who gave that marriage license to her? Was it you or the High Speaker? I was never one for stories. I found them to be overly tempting distractions from the cruel reality of the world. When I was a child, I loved fairy tales and children's stories. That's an adorable picture. Back then, I was once naive enough to believe the king was the most powerful person in Weavengard. I saw the suffering of the people. I saw the commoners who suffered under the nobility day after day. And I saw my father sitting on the throne, watching it all happen. I hated him. I hated his apathy. I hated his indifference to the people suffering. He did nothing to the four pillars. Called it, but I'm still mad. Well, yeah, I can understand his motivations here, so I kind of figure that's probably fine here. The reason is that, like, I don't know if... There's some, like, minor discrepancies to, like, the way that the evidence works that makes me feel like it should have been the High Speaker instead, but for motivations, it does definitely make more sense for him. I don't usually go by motive as, like, a very important piece of evidence, honestly, because it's usually not something you should actually use as a strong piece of evidence. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of, like, meh, this part, but I knew it was the wedding document, though, either way. I got that part right. He had nothing as the four pillars of blood this country dry to feed their own vices. Nevertheless, I was his firstborn son, and I was next in line to the throne. One day I would be able to do what he could not. I'm also very surprised that he's like doing this, but he didn't ever actually sign anything with Eris. That's kind of interesting to me. It also appears that he's not a demon, he's just a guy. I didn't think that he was allowed to do this. I legitimately did not know that he was allowed to do blood contracts. So I prepared. I studied the arcane arts, which has become the cornerstone of our culture. I mastered the pastimes of the aristocrats, so also I could earn their admiration and respect. However, there was a demon inside my head. She whispered unnerving temptations. She told me that villains must fall for the innocent to thrive, but I would never not hear it. As young as I still was a member of the royal family, and soon I'd be the most powerful person in Weavengard. I used my position to connect with commoners who were suffering. I promised them I would save them from the tyranny of the nobles who would one day answer to me. But it was all a lie. I simply didn't realize it at the time. That's not a lie, then. That's like a falsehood, but there's a difference. The more I challenged the four pillars, the more the people suffered. My efforts were met with retaliation. The aristocrats thought I was spoiled, and they took the rod to the people. House Frege and House Von Sanctus were drunk on their power. They would slaughter as many people as it took to persuade me to fall in line. House Steel and House Sybil, even the skilled lords themselves, they all cowered in fear of change and anarchy. They did nothing. My only ally, who I thought was unbreakable, had been crippled and driven away by his kingdom's cruelty. I realized why my father sat on the throne with such numbness in his eyes. It's not that he wouldn't do anything, he couldn't do anything. He was forced to watch in horror as the aristocracy held his people ransom. There are actually things that you can do to, like, curb the powers of aristocrats without, you know, consorting with demons. Like, you can sort of see the consolidation happening around the time of just before the Industrial Revolution, where you ended up with much stronger kingdoms. The reason that this didn't really help was that, like, ultimately, you can pretend that Astrid of Weavengard would be a good king or whatever. Maybe he would be. But, you know, he dies, his heir is there, and his heir might not be. So the problem is, like, the fundamental same thing that's making it so the aristocratic houses are bad. Like, it's the fact that it's patrilineal rather than, like, any kind of, like, system where you can remove somebody who is not doing their job correctly. Heavy was the crown, hell's brought, and whoever sat upon the throne. But, yeah, kings were capable of consolidating power in such a way that, like, nobles basically couldn't do anything against the king if they tried to, like, do some sort of retaliatory measure against whatever the king was up to. You get, like, that sort of French inscription on the cannons, like the last argument of kings. That was because the king had cannons and the nobles weren't allowed to. And if the nobles decided they didn't like that rule, they got shot with cannons. So I'd fallen into despair, and I had no one to give me hope. That's when that demon's voice returned. You tried mercy, you tried diplomacy. Where has that brought you? They prey on the innocent because they thought you wouldn't strike back. They butcher them every day, hoping that you'd become numb to it like your father. Tell me, young prince, how many corpses must be stacked before you accept what needs to be done? Eris, how could I make such a choice? You wouldn't be choosing violence, you'd simply be choosing who that violence would be directed at. It's not as if they don't deserve it. You can continue to watch the people you love suffer. You can pat yourself in the back for being more virtuous than your enemies while the innocent burn. But what will you do? What I must. Is she not in the mirror? I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like she's not in the mirror. That's interesting. The angle on that is also all weird, but in truth it was quite easy. I always hated how little everyone thought of me, but it turned out to be quite the blessing. I was worried that Lucio would see through that illusion trapped within the force cage, but he never gave it a passing thought. Hunting Von Sanctus and Sybil was no different than shooting wild boars in the forest. Lady Steelman moved exactly as I needed to. It was not as if I were moving and flexing my own arm. I doubt anyone genuinely missed those two. Even if they did, they were outnumbered by the lives I had saved with their deaths. Well, we don't actually know if you saved anybody yet. Like I said, you haven't actually removed the structures. This is why I was saying, like, this is kind of a half measure sort of thing. He should have just actually, like, walloped them, like, in a field of battle or something like that, which would have resulted in a lot more dead people, but, you know. So why raise such outrage over that filth? I mean, I'm not mad. Why, Mr. Cuthbert? If you don't want to answer, we can drag the truth out of both of you. Both of you? Who's the other one? Oh. Sigh, don't bother. Aster, no. Tell me, Mr. Cuthbert, do you know what the best kind of lie is? The kind that's hardest to disprove? No, not quite. It's the kind where you won't even try. The best kind of lie is the one you want to believe in. Truth can be right in front of you, but will make you look away. I imagine you're very familiar with that feeling. Your Majesty, what are you? I'm done with this farce. I'm sure if we brought the High Speaker to the stand, Mr. Cuthbert would just deduce what happened anyway. It was always going to end this way, I suppose. Aster, you wretch. Are you saying that was you? It was, Lucio. What of it? I was simply cleaning up all of your messes. If it weren't for Eris's little games, I would have done it much more cleanly. She promised that she'd have a leash on McCoy by the end of this. What a mess she's made. How could you? And what right do you have to judge my actions, oh great scaled lord? Pardon me? No, I think I'll be pardoning myself. I am the king of Weavengard, am I not? Is that not my right? You're insane. Do you seriously think everyone in this room will let you get away with this? I do. Who's going to stop me? The Scaled Lord. That's why he hosted this trial in the first place. His authority is above yours. I didn't ask who would stop me. I asked who was going to. What? Why aren't either of you saying anything? Yes, Rathelion, have me arrested. Put my 7-year-old brother on the throne. I'm sure history will tell you exactly how a kingdom fares when a child wears the crown. Or you take the throne for yourself. I've read the uncensored records of what happened the last time. He did that once? But I'm sure centuries of isolation have done wonders for your ability to lead. Rathelion. Aster will not kill indiscriminately, Mr. Cuthbert. He just admitted murdering 2 people. He's been preparing to lead from his birth. I willingly turn my head away from this kingdom. I know nothing of what Weavengard needs. Like, the reason that he's probably correct in any sense is that Rathelion has literally said he doesn't actually care what happens. Like, that's why all those other people are running rampant and doing kind of bullshit. I may not know the best course for me, but I know with painful certainty that it is not to seize control of this nation. Not really surprising. From everything I've seen, negligence has been your one consistent trait. Yeah, that's Lucio Steele. And what about you, Lucio? Are you going to just try to depose me? The beloved prince, now king of Weavengard? I have nothing but contempt for William Frege, but I suppose I must be thankful. He did a wonderful job of tearing you down. The people would never accept you. You're a man with the blood of thousands on your hands. Imagine if you deposed the new king of Weavengard before the previous king's body was even interred. Wonder just how bloody of a civil war that could plunge this nation into. I'm sure you can imagine just how tempting a weakened Weavengard would look to the other nations. Aster, you're holding everyone hostage. Tell me, does this terrify you all? To know that I can do whatever I please with no one who can stop me? This is not what you've been all been doing to the rest of this country. Everyone here is a noble except for like Tyrion, so like this is literally true. So you know, well, Celeste as well. Everyone else is a noble, and I think that makes checkmate, Cuthbert. We could probably do something about this, but it is quite exhilarating to say. I can see why you're so fond of it. What are you all doing? Lucio, she's your daughter. You have to do something. My daughter would not sacrifice the stability of Weavengard for her freedom. You know that to be true. Damn it. He killed so many people. He enslaved Ari. He almost did the same to me. How many people has he killed? He's killed like 10? That's not that... You've probably killed more people than he has. Wait. Why did he need you to sign away your soul? What do you mean? Eris was the one who wanted it. But this was his plan. That outcome had to have benefited them both. That's not necessarily true. There could be a quid pro quo in there where, like, some of the stuff happens because Eris wants it, and some of the stuff happens because Aster wants it. If Aster is the patron, that means Pierce originally sent that letter to him. This is where Celeste... Yeah, I said that she is likely because of the way that the pictures look, but it doesn't actually matter. Because even given, like, everything that they all just said there, she wouldn't be able to really be the queen. Like, so let's say they depose Aster and they make her a queen. All the problems that they had with Alaric were also true for Celeste. He's also the one who is the king, so whether or not the law actually applies to the king depends on their constitution, which they don't seem to have. So, if that's the case, that still doesn't really matter, in my opinion. That probably is the way they're going, but, like, the thing that Rathelion is saying about, like, they don't want to actually put, like, it's just vibes, yeah, well, still want to try to sort of deduce it based on, like, the actual way things are, but even if McCoy was of royal blood, Aster is the king's eldest child, and he's of pure royal blood. McCoy would have no claim to the throne under these circumstances. If you were his half-sister, you wouldn't have a claim to the throne. So why would he go to so much trouble to murder Pierce and gain control of you? Maybe he just wanted to be sure, but he wouldn't have had Eris head to the prayer room personally if it wasn't important. She can't lie. If she promised to do the job, that job would have been done. He needed to silence both you and Pierce during the massacre, which means you two are even more important targets than Von Sanctus and Sybil. he doesn't actually need to silence Celeste, because at this current point, there's no actual proof that we've established that she is, in fact, royal, because Pierce died. If Pierce had lived, then we could have potentially gotten that, but... Okay, but my potential claim to the throne would be the only reason he'd be scared of me. If that wasn't a problem, why would he be so scared of Pierce's blackmail? Would the line of succession be the only reason why he'd be scared of Celeste's patronage? I recalled what I knew about Weavengard's laws regarding the royal throne. Wasn't there something someone mentioned about that? I don't actually know these. I recall a conversation I had with Theon Arceus. Church of Bahamut is important not only to Weavengard's culture, but to its civil stability. Faith is a powerful and unifying force. Is that why you revise Weavengard's history and keep Heavensborn outside the country? I don't know what you're trying to insinuate. Not that. Aster didn't murder the High Speaker when he had the chance. Why would he have done that? So it's still possible that Church of Bahamut played a role in his future plans. But that wouldn't explain why you need Pierce to die, no. Called a conversation I had with Harold Haraldson. This shouldn't matter either. Harold, what do you know about the Celestial Gods? I haven't been able to find anything about them. That makes sense. They are primarily worshipped by the people of the Theocracy of Lumina. That might explain why worship of them most outlawed. Lumina is the kingdom west of us, but I knew very little about them. All I knew was that we fought them during the First War of Weavengard, and then later during the Great Luminite War. They'd been Weavengard's long-standing enemy for a while. Simply asking about them could raise accusations of treason. There are 9 Celestial Gods, each representing a divine domain in heaven. Deus, Odin, Machina, Horus. I'm sorry, one of them was named Horus? Nope, that doesn't help here. I recalled a conversation I had with Eris Ilmater. Despite everything, the kingdom includes him in our constitution. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position in our kingdom. The Scaled Lord made Weavengard what it is today. He is given authority that befits such a legacy. Yep. How have I never heard this before? I've memorized all of Weavengard's laws. Practically speaking, I've never been invoked. It's merely a law spun of reverent words to praise the Scaled Lord and appease the church. Wait, Scaled Lord and his kid could override the king's rule? Wait. This is kind of stupid if this is true, but okay, let's go with it. They don't look anything alike. Like, there is literally zero. Yeah, I don't think this is true. I think this is like an asshole. Let's Celeste McCoy, by the authority of the Weavengard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. Knight tried to grab her arm, and it was like something flipped inside of her. She slammed her palm into the knight's chest, his plate armor reverberating as he fell to the ground. 3 other knights rushed forward. They tried to grab her and pin her to the ground. She let out a guttural scream against them, almost sounding like a feral animal. It looked like it was taking all their strength to keep her pinned down. You can't teach yourself magic, McCoy. That's not possible. Hey, I've got a system, okay? I've learned a few new spells today. How long did it take you to learn these spells? A few hours, I think. She taught herself multiple spell formulas within a few hours. Yeah, I don't feel like any of this actually proves that she's a dragon. When a mage casts a spell, they draw and harness the aether from within their own body. Artificer, on the other hand, draws aether from the natural ley lines that run through the ground. I'm someone who has practiced arcane magic for my entire life. I've slowly learned how to sense how aether moves around me. You can do that too? I thought I was the only one. Oh, that talent is quite a rarity, even among the royal family. Suppose I shouldn't expect anything less from the Crimson Demon. So this is why I thought she was probably related to these guys as well, but like... Even in my human form, I've always had the strength of an ancient dragon. What is it, Tyrion? Her ridiculous strength, a natural talent for learning magic. She inherited all of it from him. Are you okay? You got really pale all of a sudden. I don't think she's dragon strong, although he is apparently a wimpy dragon, so maybe. Once I revealed this, there's no going back for her. Do I really have any right to do this? No, Arya's Freedom wrote on this. I'm sorry, Celeste. This could ruin your life. What are you talking about? Hey, I had to learn that I've got, like, weird angel wings when I go to Celestial Court today. You can learn that you're a dragon. How can I even begin to explain this? Celeste, do it. You don't understand. I owe you and Arya for what I did. Whatever I need to do to save Arya, just keep your promise, okay? Like I said, we're in this together, and I'll always be there when you need me. No matter where you go, we're going there together. Good. Are you two done flirting with each other? No, but... Aster, I know the identity of Celeste's father. What? No, you're bluffing. You have to be. Said that no one could contest your rule of Weavengard aside from the Scaled Lord. But there's one more person, isn't there, Aster? What are you talking about? Only the Scaled Lord can override the will of the king. And his kin, Lucio. Suppose that's... Asked her to Weavengard you needed Eris to capture Celeste during the massacre, but it's because your resistance would always pose a threat to your rule. This can't be real. People of Weavengard nobility, your current king was fearful of my bodyguard's parentage, and now we know why. Celeste McCoy is the daughter of the Scaled Lord Othelli, an ancient dragon and creator of all arcane magic. She looks more pissed off at your stupid statement there than anything else. Okay, so I know that, like, Rathelion is a negligent and shitty person in that sense there, but, like, isn't he a guy? I guess he's a dragon, he can do what he wants. So, let's try and remember back. Doesn't she get, like, abandoned in a forest or something like that? Like, who is the mother? That's actually kind of, like, really important to me now. I'm half dragon? Well, I'm apparently part angel, so you're in good company. Maybe you're all dragon, we don't know who the mother is. Maybe you were left in an egg that hatched in the middle of the forest and you got, like, picked up by those other two. So that demon was speaking the truth. Rathelion, do you not... God damn it, alright, whatever. Yeah, he needs to be more responsible. As the Scaled Lord's kin, Celeste has the authority to pass judgment on you and override your rule. And when you're gone, she will take your place as the ruler. I actually don't think that's a good idea. Celeste, think about this. Can you even begin to grasp what it takes to lead a nation, much less one so broken? You'd just be trading one hell for another. This would also appear as, like, a coup, which would still plunge the place into civil war. Like, Astra to Weavengard, regardless of any other considerations, could still get backing from a lot of people and probably still plunge the world into absolute chaos. So, like, I don't think this is a clean solution either. Just tell me one thing, Astra. How could you do this to Arya? She trusted you. She loved you. Loved me. She hated me. Why wouldn't she? I was weak back then. I was pathetic. You idiot. She wanted to change Weavengard together with you. You didn't need to do any of this. Is that what you really think? I suppose you would. You probably also think you were the first two people to try to change the nation while still working within its laws. There's nothing wrong with having ideals and working within the law. My father was like that too. He was a man of ideals once. There is a problem with trying to change something from within the laws if the laws are specifically structured so that you aren't allowed to change things, which is generally speaking what the laws in these kind of structures are designed to do. So in those particular situations, you do need to do things which might be outside of the laws. And that doesn't mean you have to do things that are necessarily illegal. It means that you have to take the laws as they sort of are and get rid of them, which is often something that might be outside of what the legal system allows for. And if there's enough consensus over that, like, the law doesn't overrule what people actually just do. So if the government or whatever just decides, it's like, okay, we're not doing that anymore, even if there's a bunch of legal precedent, then the law changes. It doesn't matter what the law says as far as the procedure goes. Which can be good or it can be bad, depending on what's going on there. But laws aren't the sort of, like, immutable thing that has to be respected. You can actually just ignore them. Watched my whole life as he compromised on everything he believed in, one ideal after another. It was to keep the peace. We must maintain stability between the noble houses to uphold law and order. And you know who paid the price every time? Not him, not me, not any of the nobles gathered here. No, the people who paid the price were the commoners. The kind of people you two were always trying to save. I would have honestly thought you'd understand by now. A gulf exists between what is just and what is lawful in this kingdom. We know it's not fair, but we're capable of changing. You had the power to do just that. I am changing it. You're working so hard to find the truth behind those murders, but here's a little bit of truth that's evident to everyone in this room except you two. Half the people here present here today are glad that they're gone, and the other half wants to be the ones to replace them. The blood I shed in a single hour did more good in this kingdom than you could have done in years. So that's how you plan on fixing this country's problems. By working the demons and killing your way to a brighter future? If I have to, why not? Every day across this nation, commoners are killed and oppressed at the hands of very nobles who gathered here. They bleed this country dry and feed on its people like carrion. I'm merely returning a much-needed sense of equality. Do you really think any of you are in a position to judge me? Well, the problem is, like, when you decide that, you know, you'd rather do stuff for selfish reasons, or, you know, the next person in line does things for selfish reasons, you know, that absolute sort of authority tends to collapse once you get a bad person in charge, so... All of you who came running at the news of my father's death, also you could be the first to fill my ears with your sycophantic phrases. Do you know what the difference between the Empress of Discord and all of you is? That demon was just a bit more honest. Arya wanted to stand with you. Arya's too stupid and too naive to do anything. She loved you. How could you? She loved her idea of me. She loved a weak and ineffectual prince who would have borne watching his kingdom rot with a damn smile. She loved your kindness. This is kindness. The blood I will spill will be the greatest kindness this kingdom has ever known. And once I'm done, Weaver will be better and stronger for it. Master McCoy, I don't care what you are. The Scaled Lord's daughter, the rightful heir, none of that matters to me. I will save my kingdom and his people, and I will carve out the rod of his heart, piece by bloody piece. Nothing will stand in my way. I am Master to Weavengard, King of Weavengard, and consort of the Lord of the Sixth. Wait, what? Was that Eris? Huh, good for him. I am nothing but a dead man. Volnus. Lucio. What? Oh, that's going to be a problem. No. Lucio, what have you done? The blood contract, Cuthbert. What? My daughter's blood contract. Does it still exist? Check my satchel. Sure enough, Arya's blood contract had completely disintegrated into ash. Its conditions have been fulfilled, haven't they? One of them no longer lives. Excellent. Lucio, this is not what we discussed. My daughter would never be free as long as that wretch lived. McCoy agreed to take his place. This was always how it was going to end. Lucio, I understand, but how could we possibly... Save your breath, Cuthbert. I already know. Kingsguard, what are you standing around for? The Grand General has just committed regicide. Arrest him at once. Sir, you still have your axe? Sir, please let go of your axe. He's like, not gonna... Sat at the nearby ruins. It looked like several of the nobles here were doing the same. We didn't know what to say to each other. I could feel my stomach churning. Yeah, I don't really agree with Lucio in the sense of he's also one of the parts of the problem in this whole sort of scenario here. He was a terrible person. He killed people. You've killed people. He tried to kill us. He took control of Arya like it was nothing to him. But I really wish he could have changed his mind. Sometimes people are beyond salvation. He made his choices. But Arya, how is she? Hello, I'm glad I found you before you left. I, of course, could only see an abyss where her heart was. Oh, Arya, I'm so... Or am I... We don't actually know if she did accept that yet. My guess is that probably, but there's still probably the whole procedural thing of, like, for one thing, verifying that she's, in fact, the daughter of Rithelion, because we have not proven that. That is just something we have said. McCoy, I've come to inform you that I'll be charging you with perjury. Okay, whatever you... What? No one is above the law, not even the Queen. That was made apparent when... She didn't trail off, her voice didn't break. Her voice simply stopped like a machine that had ceased function. We're going off vibes, remember? Okay, fair enough. Arya? Anyways, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. We do have talented defense counsel after all. No proof necessary. Right, what did I say to her? Anyways, I want to thank you for the work you've done, Mr. Cuthbert. I truly mean it when I say you have my gratitude. The other thing is, like, Rithelion himself indicates that it's actually a really bad thing for him to take direct control. The reasons for that would also be true for Celeste. So there may be an element where she decides to reject being the queen. I think in this kind of game they'll probably will be, but shouldn't really mean it when I say I have my gratitude. Yeah, of course. Anyways, I have much work to get done now that the Grand General is in custody. Yeah. You're thinking too much, Vibes, remember? I refuse to stop. What was that all about? Why didn't you say anything to her? I didn't see anything through the eye. I guess couldn't really blame her for guarding her emotions. No, Celeste, I didn't see anything. What? I looked at her with the eye. She wasn't holding anything back. There was no anger, no sadness, no fear, no joy. I've never seen that before. But you're right. I should have said something. I'm going to. So let's grab my hand before I can leave. I'll talk to her. Are you sure? She's my friend and I owe her. Looked like I got the acquittal of yet another client, but it didn't tie up quite so neatly as I'd hoped. What do you mean she's gone? She was just here. I'm sorry, Your Majesty? I didn't know what the story had in the future for all of us, but it's not as if it were different from usual. We have the power now, the power to give hope to every commoner in Weavengard. Together we begin give them the kingdom they deserved. Yeah, no, apparently she does accept it. I don't think that's a good idea. Damn it, Arya, where are you? Oh, hello. Celeste Rose, the man's person she'd been looking for. What was she supposed to say to him? She never thought she'd get this far. You're looking for Miss Steelwind, aren't you? Yeah, how do you know? She's been sitting outside my lair for a while. I tried speaking to her, but yeah, I get it. I'm going to try anyway. Of course. Rathelian, yes? I'm not mad about it, you know? Trillian and Flintheart are a part of my life because of what you did. Plus, now I get to know that I'm half dragon. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Miss McCoy, come on, don't call me that. Right, of course, Celeste. So, I've been meaning to ask. What you and Mr. Cuthbert, are you two? Oh wow, look at how late it is. I better go talk to Arya right now. Yeah, you're not allowed to have, I'll see you later, Scaled Dad. I mean, Scaled... Or, just bye. Yeah, you're not allowed to have paternal instincts now, you goddamn asshole. I get the feeling like he did literally just be like, let's just leave this in the forest here. This egg will hatch, probably. That'll be fine. Just flew off like a lizard. No wonder Lucio went so far. Hey, Arya. Oh, Celeste, what are you doing here? Just making sure you're doing okay. She's not. You are doing okay, right? No. I am. There's no need to worry about me. Are you looking at the stars? I was looking at the moon. It's full tonight. Do you mind if I watch it with you? Do as you wish. You're my superior. You know, there's also a full moon outside the night my parents found me in their inn. Oh, she was found at the inn. Well, wherever she was found. That's why they named me Celeste. It's an ancient word for the moon. Is that so? Yeah, they thought it was a gift from the Scaled Lord. It's a little funny when you think about it. By the way, I never got to thank you for sticking up for me before. What? Remember, you jumped down into the stand. I don't even think Tyrion believed in me at that point. If you'd never done that, who knows what could have, how this could have ended up. Thank you for that, Arya. I was merely taking the most obvious course of action. Yeah, I guess I don't know why I expected anything else. You're not really going to charge me with perjury, are you? Of course I am. Damn. But we do require your help to hold the structure of our kingdom together. We won't send you to the dungeons, but we'll have to consider some community service. So she doesn't actually have, like, the royal title. She has the sort of constitutional right to just do whatever the hell she wants. So, she can, unlike Aster, Aster also technically could. That's why Lucio had to kill him illegally. She can just say that she's not guilty of perjury and leave, so, you know. Ugh, fine. My father told me I was being too lenient. Lucio needs to keep his mouth shut. I understood in some way. We all do stupid things for the people we love, after all. Stupid. Arya. How could I be so stupid? Hey, you're not. I am. I'm a complete and utter fool. I'm an attorney for her lord's sake. I've read countless legal documents. When I signed that contract, I felt something was wrong. But I was just so stupidly happy. That's not fair. No one expected him to do something like that. Now my father, he's going to pay for my mistakes. I'm sorry. Celeste, he used me like a puppet with my hands and my magic he made me. I'm sorry, Arya. What he did to you was horrible. I don't know how to make it better, but you're not alone, okay? I'll be here as long as you need me to. Thank you. I think I'll drop the charges of perjury against you. Wait, are we still on that? What did she perjure herself on exactly? Where are we actually going in terms of perjury? Because the charge would have to contend with the fact that she had her memories manipulated during that time. So I don't know if she could actually get her for perjury anyway. Mr. Cuthbert, oh no, there were moments where she, even then she was under alternative control, so I don't think that we can properly do that. Mr. Cuthbert, we received words from House Fraga. The story we created should be printed in the papers as we speak. I don't like this. We're lying to the people of Weavengard about what really happened. Not to mention the story paints me like I'm some kind of god. I understand your reservations, but Aster was right about how the common folk felt about him. If we told people what actually happened, they would never believe it. They'd think his death is some sort of a... Well, the fact that you're doing a political conspiracy is not going to help that factor. I feel like this is actually likely to make it worse. Even with this cover story, we can't be certain they still won't suspect that. Given how many witnesses there were who have, like, reason to want to erode the trust and the power that Celeste now holds, that would get out immediately. I don't know why they think this would work. Arya, shouldn't you be resting? Nonsense, I'm not going to sit around feeling sorry for myself while everyone else fixes my mistakes. I'll move forward. She may have been hiding her pain behind a smile, but she wasn't shutting down her emotions like before. As much as it pains me, you should strive to carry forth the virtues that Aster represented to the common folk. Weavengard will gain more from those false virtues than from the person that he truly was. The stability of our nation must be maintained if we're to move forward, and if we must use the people's piety to do that, then so be it. Arya. And as the Grand General of Weavengard, I will do my part to support your rule. As will the Scaled Lord. Celeste smiled in gratitude to their words, but she meekly glanced at me expectantly. Do you even have to ask? Hehe. It's not just us, but we must make sure that the rest of Weaving supports you too. Oh yeah, since you two patched things up, we could also ask for Ruby's help. Ah, right, I forgot that I was supposed to meet with her this morning. I'll need to apologize to her about that. Wait, have you still not told her about what happened yet? We have more important things to worry about. I'm sure she'll understand. She still has a contract. During the last time you saw her, you manifested a blocked contract without explaining anything. Then you vaguely said something about helping Arya. Don't worry, I'll explain everything to her once things quiet down. Tyrion, that story we fabricated is being printed right now. Everyone in Weaving is going to read about it in the paper, including her. Oh. What's all this noise about? What, have you been living under a rock, lady? Read this morning paper. The Scaled Lord has returned. What? Demonic attack claims lives of prominent figures. Chaos broke out yesterday during the private wedding between Arya Steelwind and Crown Prince Astrid Weavengard. Surprise attack orchestrated by a malevolent demon, a devastating loss was inflicted upon our kingdom, shattering the very foundations of our power and stability. Carnage left in the wake of the abyssal assault is nothing short of catastrophic. Among the fallen were Lady Quarreling, Sybil, Lord Lloyd von Sanctus, and Lord Lucio Steelwind. Wait, he's alive though. Both King Olivier and King Crown Prince, did they execute him? Probably, actually. We haven't even got... No, we haven't. Like, I feel like that's kind of a problem with actually a lot of things, because there's actually a lot of contracts here. Both King Olivier and Crown Prince Aster made a heroic attempt to repel the foul monster. While the profane demons fell and defeated the king, the Crown Prince tragically lost their lives in the ensuing battle. The way that they're saying that makes it sound like both Aster and Alaric both were killed. Does Alaric get disappeared? Are we doing the full conspiracy thing here? Okay, great. However, amidst the chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope emerged to prevent the kingdom from descending into further disarray. The Scaled Lord himself descended from the heavens, restoring order and making a profound proclamation. In a selfless act to maintain the integrity and unity of Weavengard, the Scaled Lord anointed his holy daughter as the new Queen of Weavengard. Again with Scaled Lord nonsense. This reeks of violent political coup by his holy daughter. The roping in the original king's death is part of the story, since that wasn't public yet. Wasn't it? Oh yeah, you're right. That wasn't public yet. It says there's a picture of her on the next page. What? Is that? How interesting. Celeste? Tell you, I don't know how she did it, but she took over the entire kingdom. She's not gonna come for us, is she? Probably. Alright, what the... Okay, so that just ends. Alright. After hearing what happened to my former lord, I've thought a lot about my actions. I want to ask you to forgive me, Your Majesty. But I want to continue to atone for all the harm I've caused. AKA, I'm about to get absolutely annihilated by a literal dragon queen who's going to annihilate me by throwing me into the sun. Please don't... I'm very sorry. Yeah, I kind of tend to dislike certain parts of, like, these sorts of stories in the sense that, like, they're very anti-change. Like, these sort of stories are very repellent of the idea of things changing. I will continue my studies in the field of conjuration. With the kingdom in such disarray, it falls on people like me to maintain order. Why are you looking at me like that? We'd never be able to do this if it weren't for the Dracogen Trading Company. I feel partially responsible for what happened at the Imperial Academy. I like to make amends however I can. Don't worry about that. Business has been booming ever since we set up shop in Wraitholm. More customers just means more work for me. I thought you were doing other work. I have a pretty decent tolerance for low gameplay. Yes, I have a pretty good tolerance for that. I've been developing my necromancy ever since I began working under Lord Asclepius. Lord Asclepius ended up being nowhere near as important as his character sprite indicated to me. He needed to be, like, way more in that last bit there. I think I've grown quite good at it. Don't get ahead of yourselves. You've grown competent at it. But that was a joke. You're probably the best necromancer I know. Aside from me, of course. Yeah, they do kind of leave us hanging on the fact that, like, I should check out 1000 time resist at some point. Okay, I don't know what that is, so I'll look into that. I'm sorry, but I still can't... How? I'm surprised this guy's still alive. But from what I've heard of my record, perhaps that's for the best. Even if your memories are gone, your crimes can't be changed. You still have to serve your sentences, but I do hope you can live out the rest of your life in peace. How come he's actually still... Well, he didn't have that kind of contract, so he did it in a different context, I guess, but... Like, one of the whole reasons why Steelwind was going through her, like, whole investigation was to figure out, like, all these people that were affiliated with Eris or whatever, whether or not they actually were doing these murders or what have you. And, like, it feels as though, like, she's nullifying the one where she's guilty of murder, because she did kill Lloyd von Sanctus, and she did kill Sybil. Like, if we're still assuming that these other people who signed these contracts are guilty, which we seem to be doing, then, like, she would also have to still be guilty, because, like, Redmond has the easy out of just being like, oh yeah, I had a contract, I was mind-controlled. At which point he could easily just, like, get out of jail. So I don't really know exactly why that would be, like, he would still be in there. But, oh well. Wait, oh no, it's you. Crazy Chick isn't with you, is she? Why are you looking behind me, man? What did you just call me? Oh lord, run for it, Gavin. It's politics wrapped in an apocalyptic sci-fi setting? Okay. Good to see you, Mr. Cuthbert. From what I hear, you've certainly moved up in the world. Yeah, a lot has happened. I don't even know where to begin. I'm glad you see the refinery is doing well. Well, I suppose I have you to thank for that. You're quite the... what did Her Majesty call you? An angel investor. Yes, that's it. Brought up... well, a game that is called 1000 times Resist would be the sort of one where if they're calling it that, you would really hope that they have some sort of inkling of, like, revolutionary sympathies or whatever. Because this game is incredibly unsympathetic to, like, any sort of revolutionary action. Actually, I'm here on behalf of Her Majesty. We both have an idea for a business venture. And I think it'd be a good... would set a good precedent if we employed a company with your business practices. Oh, I think I like the sound of that. It's extremely well written. What kind of game is it? Is it a visual novel? I still have much to learn about leading a noble house, but I hope I can bring House Frege and Wingard to a brighter future. I think it's about time we ended the constant feud between Steelwinds and the Fregas. I'd like for us to work together. May not know much, but that certainly sounds like a step in the right direction. Tracker will do his best to help Queen. I appreciate the gesture, Tracker, but I don't think... Bank needs gold, right? Tracker can dig for gold. Yeah, okay, sure. It's basically one step up from that. Well, fair enough then. Why were we talking to Eugene without... okay, whatever. And that makes checkmate, Cuthbert. Did I lose to chess against the monkey? Damn it. What? Did you just lose? No, I demand a rematch. Learn to lose the dignity for Lord's sake. I'm glad I let him keep those armbands. You let him keep those armbands? God damn it. Okay. I think the Scaled Lord's daughter would descend to lead our kingdom of prosperity. Theon, you were there for most of the trial. You know what actually happened. The Scaled Lord works in mysterious ways. Fate has brought you to where you are today. Like, I guess you're kind of right. You can walk around, but the narrative is entirely talking to people and making choices, pretty much. That sounds like a great thing to do if I'm playing, like, a Persona game, and I need to add in, like, the social link stuff in between it again. Which is why I'm playing this game, but, you know, there's a little bit of traversal. Interesting. May have everyone else fooled, but I know how the story goes. A mage is still a mage, and a noble is still a noble. Come on, don't be like that. Hey, if you want to prove me wrong, by all means. I ain't holding my breath. I suppose you have every reason not to trust anyone. But we are going to fix this kingdom. As long as it's a kingdom, it's not fixed. There's this sort of, like, tendency in a lot of, like, stories where they're just, like, the only problem is, like, the wrong people are in charge of the thing. When you have to sort of then ask yourself, why are the wrong people allowed to be in charge of the thing? Because that points to a structural issue. It doesn't point to the wrong people being in charge. Because you'll always have the wrong people in charge if the wrong people are capable of becoming in charge. And these games are very allergic to the idea that that's something that can be the problem. They only ever think that if you have a different person in charge. Has an extremely compelling story about Chinese immigration to Canada. Interesting. It's interesting that's Canada. You don't usually have Canada in games. Really wish he would talk to us. He needs time to process everything that happened. I don't think he'll be very receptive to us. At least not right now. We should probably hire a professional he can talk to. We've been talking about people needing therapists for a while in this game. Zoe Sanders. Are you okay? Yes, I really appreciate you coming. That is a game that's on Steam, right? It's a Canadian studio. Interesting. It's kind of weird when games are actually like set specifically in Canada. It's quite rare. Like I was kind of thought that was weird when Soma was in Toronto at the start of it, and then you get like chucked into the middle of the ocean where you're not in Canada anymore. But like yeah. So I'll look into what that is. I might not actually get it, but I'll look into it definitely. Yes, I really appreciate you coming here with me. His actions were absolutely deplorable. I was hoping coming here would give me closure, but with Von Sanctus and Silicon, we have had a much easier time repairing our kingdom. See, I don't really get why this would be true necessarily, because, like, who replaced Von Sanctus and who replaced Sybil? Like, why would they be any different? I feel uneasy about all this. No, I also see what you mean. They are basically also saying that, like, the prince was actually right in his actions. He would actually be correct, though. They would be actually correct that it would be easier because, like, those houses would be weakened with the sudden death of their, like, heads. So, like, if young, underprepared people that are not, like, properly set up to enter into those families are at the head of those families all of a sudden, the crown does have a lot more leverage over them. It makes it way easier for those families to be pressured into doing things they don't want to do. But, you know, that just consolidates power into the crown, who's just as likely to be corrupt as they are, so. You may have had good intentions, but you refused to let anyone work with them. That part's true. Even with Eris, they were just using each other. I do think he really wanted to change Weaverguard, but he could only do it in his own terms. Even if he did end up achieving his goals, his legacy he'd leave behind would be one of blood. No lasting peace or justice could have had that have that at its foundation. I kind of disagree with that. A lot of democracies actually have blood at their foundation. That's surprisingly mature for you. Hey, I'm always mature. Surprisingly, even, like, royalty that gets, you know, to maintain the status quo also has that kind of blood at their footprint, so it's not like it's either or. You just end up with blood either way in history. Goodbye, Aster. Are you kidding me, Ruby? What kind of ridiculous case was that? Weren't you the one who called a monkey to stand during Beatrice's trial? Yeah, I suppose you have a point. Truth is often stranger than fiction. You should know that better than anyone else. Oh my god, I just realized. Is this what I've been doing to Arya? Yeah. You're the one that wanted to be a lead prosecutor. I'm only filling for her until we can find a qualified replacement. Well, if you ever get bored of her life as a royal, there's always a spot open at my office. Okay, so I guess that's the last person we talked to there. Oh no. I see they allowed you to keep your axe. I thought they claimed that he was dead. Having him alive in the prison is actually a really big problem for their conspiracy that they're trying to go with. I thought I ordered you to stop visiting me. I outrank you now, Father. McCoy's impertinence is rubbing off on you. Wait, she's still listed as a prosecutor, though. I'll take that as a compliment. And he's also listed as Grand General still. I'm glad to see you in such good spirits. I suppose I underestimated you. Surprised you're not sentencing me to death. You still have your contract. I suppose I should be grateful. Yeah, we kind of need you alive so you know when Eris is back. Is that how that works? You're using me like a canary in a coal mine? I'm almost proud of you, too. Although, I am curious as to why she hasn't returned yet. What the hell is this? Why are you preventing me from leaving? Well, I can't very well let you make yourself a fool of yourself a second time. Lord of the Ninth Asmodeus, Arcane Art All. You're not to leave the Sixth Circle until I tell you otherwise. So says the word of Asmodeus. Are you grounding me? If you want to behave like a petulant child, I'll treat you like one. I swear, when I get out of here... What have I told you about speaking in future tense? Sure you don't want to move into the castle with us, Mom? No, I've grown attached to this place. It was your father's, and it doesn't seem right to abandon it. Yeah, I get what you mean. Anyways, I want to give you two some privacy. Mom. So stop dragging your feet, Tyrion. I want to live to see my grandkids. Mom. I think there are security risks for the queen to leave her, like, adoptive mother in, like, a little hamlet in the middle of nowhere where, like, she's very vulnerable to bad agents who might want to, like, threaten or put pressure on the queen, but at the same time, Oh, ahoy, Cuthbert. I have everything ready for tonight. What? It's nothing. Whisper, pretend like you don't know anything. What? Blackmail? Nah, vibes, don't worry. Oh, God. Also, I'm kind of wondering, like, Arya is saying that she outranks Lucio. I wonder if she took the position of, like, the head of House Steel, and if that's the case, that makes her the Grand General of the army, and she is not competent for that. What are you doing? It's a surprise. All right, whatever you say. So, I was wondering. You lived for a really long time, right? I have. Do you have any siblings? No, I'm sorry. There was one many centuries ago, but I lost her. It was rare, even across centuries, when I have sought companionship. She did say she was Grand General now. Yeah, but she's not qualified to be a Grand General. Like, that didn't even, like... The thought was so absurd that it just completely blanked on me. There's no way she could actually fulfill that function in any sense there. It was rare, even across the centuries when I've sought companionship. Dragons are magical beings, the creations of offspring is rare. So much so that it's a miracle that you were born. I'm sorry, but you were alone. I don't really feel that way. I think I spend so much time with Arya that she's basically like my sister. And Tyrion, well, perhaps I should have some words with Mr. Cuthbert. You're not allowed to be paternalistic now, asshole. Don't you dare. Do they never tell you who her mother is? Because that would be really interesting to know. So we meet again, Crimson Demon. Who keeps telling people about that nickname? Who knows? It could have been anyone. Tyrion, you don't like it? I can help you come up with a new one. Dragon Queen? Scaled Empress? That has too much in line with the Empress of Discord, I feel like. That creates a sort of parallel which implies that the Empress of Discord will be back, and then we'll have to deal with a sort of like showcase between the two of them. Okay, I actually really like that. Really? Also, I don't know if you're an Empress, because I don't think this is an Empire. So, yeah, that's how it all happened. He really did. He voted a blood contract drafted by the Empress of Discord. I thought you'd be more happy after what Eris did to you. He has no idea what he's done. Come on, it can't be that bad. Demons naturally despise the Celestials in their magic, and they pride themselves on their ability to deceive others. A voided blood contract, especially by Heavensborn, is the highest disgrace for a demon. It rarely happens, even the weakest demon know not to leave any openings like that. So honestly irritates me how much less meticulous she was when she made your contract. What was she thinking? Is she really that big of a deal? Asmodeus is the king of demons, god among gods. Eris is his daughter. So what, is she going to tell us on us to him? This is serious. No one has ever voided a contract drafted by a Lord of Hell. It's unheard of. I bet that's not true. Your sweetheart is going to attract a lot of attention from Hell and Heaven. And I need you to tell me everything I can. I need to know what's coming. I want concessions. I don't plan on spending the rest of my life in this cell. Beatrice, he committed first-degree murder. He was a terrible person. He was your dad. He would have been executed for his crimes anyway, assuming he didn't just run. This is what I was saying. Like, she could literally have just thrown out the Discord document to the courts and been like, hey, this is what my dad's been up to. And then we would have beheaded him, and she would have been fine. I don't understand why we actually give a crap that she's in here. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to track down someone with that much gold? The way I see it, I save your people a lot of trouble. I'm not going to pardon you, Beatrice. I don't want to be pardoned. I just don't want to listen to Lucio working out in his cell all day. Honestly, get that man a book or something. He needs a hobby. Fine, I'll see what I can do about getting you some heavily supervised outings. I'm blind, what am I going to do? Turn yourself invisible and run away? I am insulted that you think I'm that uncreative, yeah. Are you all really going to be okay? What do you mean? You're now the ruling queen of Weavengard, the most powerful kingdom in the world. It doesn't sound like they're actually the most powerful kingdom in the world. From the way they've described things, they actually sound like they're kind of a minor power. Every order you make, every word you say, could have unimaginable worldwide consequences. Can you please not remind me of that? So you do recognize that then. Why are you telling me this? Because you're going to live the rest of your life in a world of glass. Anything and everything you do could shatter the lives of millions. I'm rooting for you all, I really am, but the weight of that responsibility is what drove Astor insane. Even Rathelion couldn't handle it. Wait, he took the crown? He did say that, yeah, many centuries ago, and he said that it ended really poorly. All it took was one lapse in judgment for him to cause one of the largest famines in Weavengard's history. Millions died. Everybody, take your random farm implements and turn them into industrial steel. Oh my god, just something to think about. Thanks, Beatrice. Anyways, if you want to know more about Hell's hierarchy, we need to start with the Lords of Hell. You're actually familiar with one of them, the Lord of the First, Bahamut. The Scaled Lord's a demon? Did the horns, scales, and fiery breath not imply that? So I guess that makes me demon adjacent then. Is that making you rethink your feelings for the Heavensborn? Honestly, I think that makes me like him more. I think I might actually hate you too. Yeah, well, you're stuck with us. For now. Hell take me down. Whatever, tell me more about Lords 2 through 9. Ellis Frey had some idea what was coming. Perhaps it would be best to hold on to it for now. It wasn't as if she fully understood the politics of the gods either. But from what little she knew, demons wouldn't be the only ones coming after him. Why does she not try to get me on board as the attorney to see if she can get out of her blood contract? But also, we do have to get everybody else out of their blood contracts. That is a thing. Hey, I'm clocking out for today. Thank you for your work, Orem. I'll see you tomorrow. So, are you going back to the swing of things? I'd like to think so. I need to make sure everything is in order for when Tyrion takes over. He's capable. He's never managed an organization of this size. I can't believe I'm going to have to take orders from that kid. Is there something else, Orem? Oh, yeah. Given how things are going, she's grounded forever or something. So he did imply that, like, she does get to be grounded until further notice, so she'll get out eventually, unless he just never lets her out of her room. But here's the thing. I don't actually know why... So there's a bunch of different things that could be done. Like, she could get another demon that exists in the Six to go out and act as her proxy to give orders to the people that are under her control, for example. There's nothing in the contract that stipulates that it can only work while she's in the mortal realm, so her control over them should still remain, unless there's some sort of boundary that stops orders from going back and forth, which could be possible. Like, generally speaking, those demonic contracts are still valid while the demon is still in whatever realm they're existing in other games that have that kind of element, but, you know, whatever. Spit it out, I'm very busy. Men are idiots, Arya. What? Yeah, we're all just dumb idiots. Yeah, I figured that out from you, Orem. We just bumble around bumping into shit without a care in the world. Sometimes we're just blind to what's right in front of us, you know? So don't let one idiot get you down. You're a good kid, Arya. You deserve the best. I don't think you should be calling your superior a kid. Ugh. Commander stammered for a while before his face just squeezed into a scowl. Then write me up. I don't care anymore. He slammed the door before stomping his way into the sea streets. He grumbled under his breath the entire time. Arya let out a chuckle. Part of her was really going to miss working with him. Aren't you in charge of the guard now? Okay, so they're just going to turn the lights on? During certain times of the year, the ley lines around Arnox become extremely potent. A lot of the businesses here take advantage of that to charge the arcane power cells within their homes. Those effects are amplified when they do it simultaneously. You're such a nerd. Wait, if this is happening in the city, why are we out in the ocean? Seeing it from across the ocean, I think? Come on, you'll love this. The ocean was quiet, save for the humming of the small boat's engines against the water. Tyrion, it's really dark. Are you sure it's safe to sail about out here? Don't worry, there will be plenty of light soon. Soon? In about 3, 2, 1... Yeah. One moment, each of the buildings in Arnox lit up like a flame spreading across the city. It's kind of weird that they didn't have any lights on in any of the buildings prior to that, just because people needed to be able to see what they were doing, but, you know, whatever. Every light in the house lit up, their collective warm glow washing over the city and shimmering off the ocean. Celeste just stared at the sight wide-eyed, her eyes were gleaming. Topaz colors reflecting the warm glow of the city. I have to finish this up pretty soon here. Okay, I take it all back. I love this. Noah used to bring my mother and Demia out here every year for this. It's actually a lot brighter than it ever was back then. Glad I got a chance to show it to you, Celeste. Thank you. She began fidgeting with her fingers, looking away from me. We just sailed in silence once again, drinking in the sight of the lit city. The wind shifted, it carried the scent of salt and seaweed with it. So I've really missed being able to spend time with you like this. Yeah, me too. It was just so much simpler when you weren't just an attorney and I was your bodyguard. But I'm the Scaled Lord's daughter, and you're the lead prosecutor. We barely get to see each other. But at least we're together now. And you have something to remember when we're apart. Yeah. What? Your thoughts are leaking, Celeste. What do you... Her eyes widened, realizing what I just saw. It's been so long I forgot to. It's not fair. You were supposed to say it first. Something wrong? I didn't really mean... Wait. I did mean it, but... Kinda hate the Eye of Horus sometimes. I just silently moved to sit next to her. Wait. Alright, whatever. The implication of that is really funny. She glanced at me for a moment, her eyes wide, and she quickly turned away. But she slowly slid closer to me, my shoulder pressed against hers. Her hand slid in mine, squeezed as if it were the most precious thing in the world of me. Slowly turned to me and I faced her. Just stared at each other, staring 1,000 confessions in one look. We were both going to see a lot of changes in our lives. He still doesn't say it. Son of a bitch. You'll always keep your promise, right? No matter where each of us goes, we'll always be together. Good. Oh, there we go. Okay. they implied that all of that happened and they got this far, and like he didn't say anything. They did finally change her occupation. Prosecutor, yeah, whatever. It's okay. Right now, we have all the time in the world. Have you heard about what happened in Weaverguard? Ilias Stormwake, High Inquisitor. This would be from Theocracy or whatever. Is that why you called me here? Miles Varen Calgalad. Occupation, Arch Sentinel. These probably from the Theocracy. Should have been in an email with High Inquisitor. This is serious. I must accept responsibility. Keeping records of Heavensborn was my duty. I have no idea how this Tyrion Cuthbert slipped past me. Frey was always a slippery one. Even I lost track of her. I'm happy she got a chance to settle down after everything that happened. Miles. Ilya, he's just one Heavensborn. He's harmless. He brought the Lord of the Six to the court of Bloody Azathoth. Do you have any idea of the amount of damage they could have done to all creation from there? You're worrying too much. We're still here, aren't we? The multiverse is intact and everything is fine. These don't sound like the words of someone who is 27. Miles, he has the Eye of Odin. That's impossible. I borrowed some of your drones from the armory. I sent them to the court of Azathoth myself. Ilya, these readings, they're exactly the same as the ones we gathered during our experiment with Frey. He awakened his power, albeit briefly. Multiverse, excuse me? Yeah, they did it in front of the Lord. Well, a multiverse in this context could just mean like heaven and hell, because that is a multiverse. We must assume that the Lord of the Ninth knows about it as well. Does His Majesty know? Do you approve of your little reconnaissance mission? Of course not, but I believe the path forward is clear. We must inform Heaven. They'll want to know about this. I've been hearing some rumors to the grapevine lately. The Lord of the Ninth has begun moving his forces. He must know, Arch Sentinel. You know better than anyone else. Nothing is impossible when the House of Horus is involved. All right, you win. Look into this. Try to sell it to Weaverguard as a diplomatic mission. But exercise discretion if they ever find out about what we did with Frey. I understand. It would mean war with Weaverguard. Thank you, Arch Sentinel. I'll speak with His Majesty about this at once. Sorry for disturbing your evening. Don't understand, Ilya. If what you're saying is true, it could spell war with the Outer Planes. Okay. Yeah, they definitely are sort of like doing some heavy sequel baiting on that one, but they did not really introduce a new big bad at the very end of it. Yeah, so there were some sloppy moments in some of the moments of that, but that's not surprising. There also were in like all the Phoenix Wright games where some of the like evidence doesn't quite like line up the way it needs to. Like the one thing that I dislike is that they're very consistent across the entirety of the game, that they really don't like the idea of trying to change things for the better. Like even at the very end when they're saying it's like, well, our way is going to be better, sort of by saying like we need to get rid of Aster and like replace that with like a new absolute monarch, which sure, whatever. They don't explain how they're actually going to make anything better because they can't figure out how they would. Like people who sort of write these kinds of stories never actually say what you could actually do to change systems, make them better. They just say now that these people are in charge, everything got really, really nice and rosy, and that always irritates me. Because that isn't how it works. You actually have to do specific things to actually make things better for people. And they even sort of imply the things that Aster did actually make things better for people. So, you know, does make me wonder what they would actually have done if they had to fight against like the four noble houses to begin with. So, yeah, there's that. That kind of is annoying, but at the same time, I kind of just have to understand that that's kind of how a lot of these stories get told. And, you know, just sort of live with that. That's fine. I'm still going to complain about it, though. I really like a lot of the characters in this. Eris was still like a lot of fun, even throughout the very end of that. I do hope if they do make another one of these that like Eris does come back in some capacity or other, even if she's not like the main villain or whatever. Fun ride regardless. Yeah, I liked it. I do actually wonder. No, I don't think so. Phoenix Wright has a way to like sort of access like the whole value of like all the images and stuff like that. I was wondering if there's actually anything that like could tell me what all the little moments where Eris is messing with my perception were, and it does seem like she wasn't messing with my memories, so she must have been fundamentally doing something to reality. Setting up to have her be on your side next time. I don't actually know if they're setting it up to have her necessarily be on our side per se, but she might be someone that we come to and ask her for advice or something like that if we think that we can get that out of her. But I would rather we actually figure out how to void all of the other blood contracts is what I would prefer as a game. But they wouldn't make that because it wouldn't really advance any sort of story. It would just go back to this one and frankly clear up a major major problem that they have at the end of it of like, hey, all these people have blood contracts still. Isn't that a problem? It's like, hey, all these people that are like trained soldiers in the Kingsguard still have like active blood contracts with Eris. Isn't that a problem? Well, I think if they were going to do that, she would be one of those ones who would be like sort of helping explain out hell for you, like, but then very obviously like try to rug pull you at the very end of it. Like that's how they would do that if they're going to do that. Like she would still be very much a villain that despises you. And any sort of like help that she would give you would be contingent on her ability to try to like undermine you at any given point there, which I think would be very very fun if they could get that to go on. But like, I don't know if that would be the correct route there. If they did do that, that could actually be one where it's like, you know, they could do some sort of quid pro quo where she does actually get rid of some of the other blood contracts if they help her get out of the like level of the sixth hell. But like, there's no way we would go there in a game that comes after this. That would be way after. So yeah, it would be difficult. It's interesting as well that like got up to the takeout credits in your Signalis playthrough. I'm very surprised that got you. Yeah, no, oh, fake out? Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. Well, I wasn't actually sure how long the game was actually supposed to be, so, like, I kind of figured that that very well could be where that was supposed to go through. Um, and yeah, I just thought, okay, no reason for me to assume that it isn't the end of the game. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Um, but yeah, it was very difficult for me to tell exactly when the game was supposed to end necessarily. I also know that I didn't get all the endings or anything like that, so like that'll be I never get all the endings in these games, so that's not much of a spoiler. But yeah, I wasn't 100% sure in that particular one, so yeah. There were a few things that made it a little bit weird to me, but I've played other games that ended that suddenly before, especially like indie horror games. Um, I've played a lot of indie horror games where that would have been the actual ending. Yeah, that's sort of the thing though. There's a lot that are just very very short because the developer just does not have the time or resources to make the game extend past a certain point. So they kind of just have to end the game at a sort of spot there, and I wasn't sure if that was what Signalis was as well. Um, I was kind of open to it being something that could go on past there, but I didn't expect it to be. I usually go in fairly low expectations for indie horror games just because I know that they can be very very brief in terms of what they're going for. But that game was actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But in any event, though, I have to get going, so I will figure out what I'm going to be doing on Wednesday. Probably finish off Hollow Body. But other than that, yeah, hope you found this one enjoyable. Hope to see you guys all next time.